You're watching TBPN. Today is Friday, July 11th, 2025. We are live from the TBPN Ultradome.
That's right.
The Temple of Technology.
The Fortress of Finance. The capital of capital.
We got a great show for you. We have some maybe terrible news.
Yes.
There might be top signals in the market.
Yes.
There might be top signals all over the place.
We've been building out an internal top signal tracker, crowdsourcing some of them.
Crazy.
And it's a long list.
Yeah.
We'll get through
At
it.
the top of the list, podcasters have been wearing white suits recently to celebrate the market ripping.
Yes.
That feels
White
like
suits are actually a top signal.
it's a complete top signal. But of course, there is some good. There are some. The economy's strong. We're going to go through Joe Weisenthal's breakdown. Things are not doom and gloom, but there's a lot of crazy stuff happening, and it's fun to dig through. I mean, the first major top signal, Bitcoin all-time high.
Yep.
You know, that's always, you know, it is definitionally a top signal.
So let's go through the list here because it's quite substantial. So
some of this is kind of anonymously contributed through group chats. Some of the stuff we've observed. We're going to catalog it and see if we can turn the tide of the top signals to ideally.
So starting off yesterday, Trump made a post on Truth Social calling, basically celebrating the state of the economy, the markets. Just really calling out how many assets are performing well.
I have it here.
Health.
It's the second one.
Do you want to read through it?
Yeah,
you want to read through it a little bit? Because he basically get through the post and we'll get to the moment.
So Donald Trump on Truth Social, Truths, tech stocks, industrial stocks, and NASDAQ hit all-time high record highs. Crypto through the roof. NVIDIA is up 47% since Trump tariffs. USA is taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. Country is now back. A great credit. Fed should rapidly lower rate to reflect this strength. USA should be at the top of the list.
So
low
rates are actually just a reward for when the markets are ripping.
Exactly.
It's a little treat that we give ourselves when things are great.
Yep. And the White House is posting this screenshotted on X. The country is now back, says President Donald Trump.
Every account controlled by the White House has been on a tear.
Yep.
Some of the posts I think are a little bit low class and vulgar, but others are quite funny. But there's definitely the memers are in control.
Didn't Rune say every politically aligned poster he knows who is like pro-Trump now works for the White House? But like you just haven't seen it because they were like anons and they just like, kind of dropped off posting and now
they'd be getting death threats. So they have to. It's even actually more. In many ways, it's more controversial work than Doge.
Maybe maybe it's more under discussed because Doge had this big like question in the media about like is Elon doing something that's he shouldn't be? Is he a government employee? Like what's the relationship between the two? And so there was a lot of investigative journalism that went into figuring out what's going on with Doge, who's involved.
Yeah,
but
nobody's investigating the memes.
The social media managers, which is
they need to be investigating the memes of production. But anyway, so going through my list here, that's great. Eric Trump a while back said this is a good time to buy. This was a few months ago on Ethereum. and then it just went down for months.
Oh, really?
And now it's back
Okay,
up.
I didn't
And now it's
follow
back
that
up, and he's saying, you're welcome.
I do remember Trump, he called the bottom, right? He said, like, now is a
Yes.
good time to buy generally, and then the market ripped since
He
then.
created it, and he called it perfectly.
It's wild.
It's finesse.
your
More
capital.
going down the list. Coinbase just did, who we love, but they did, they're a Fortune 500 company. They did update their profile picture to an NFT. Historically, that has been a top signal. I do think their profile picture is
Do you have any
cute.
experience with NFT profile pictures?
You know, I've delved over the years.
Experimented.
Yes, and if you look at maybe the moment that I did use an NFT profile picture in 2021,
Yep.
it was maybe only off by 1 or 2 months in
Yeah.
terms of the
I never
top.
used an NFT profile picture, but I bought an NFT right near the top.
Chain runner.
Chain runner.
Nice.
Which I still own.
Nice.
Which actually, I didn't like overinvest, get over my skis. It's a very small portion of
That's
like,
an asset that will be passed down through your family like a fine watch.
I like to think of it as like a piece of 2022 lore. You know,
Totally.
It's just like a piece of history. Fun project. And I feel like to some degree, you know, you're not really, it's like a skin in the game question. Like you're not really participating. You're not experiencing the market unless you're participating to some degree.
Yep.
But you don't want to get over your skis.
And
Sequoia also
more-
did the NFT profile picture at a really bad time and had to roll that back. Like there's been a number of like NFT profile pictures that have been like.
It is a historical
rough.
top signal. It could be now just a signal for the start of a generational
cycle.
run,
Yeah.
new cycle. But historically, it's a top
I do
signal,
want to
so we
know
got to
if,
call
like,
it out.
If NFTs are going to make a comeback, because like there's been like crypto has been coming back, and Bitcoin went from what 30 to 120.
NFTs will be back when A-list celebrities are using them on their Facebook accounts.
That was a wild
That's the
time.
real test.
Yeah.
X account, could see it happening early.
Yeah.
Facebook account, original
account.
Facebook account.
There's got to be a new project then, because I don't think any of the old products or projects are going to, come back. That would be crazy. Although some of them are kind of lindy. Like haven't the original CryptoPunks, those have kind of held their value, but the Bored Apes have sold off like crazy, but are still expensive, right?
It's unfortunate. Bored Apes are not in gag gift territory yet.
Yes.
Because you think, oh, it'd be funny to get like your buddy
bored.
like a Bored Ape for their birthday.
It's like $30K or something.
But it's like
Tyler, what's the floor price of Bored Apes? Oh, I'm interested in now. While Tyler looks that up, let me tell you about Ramp. Time is money, save both. Easy to use corporate cards, bill payments, accounting, and a whole lot more, all in one place. Go to ramp.com. Also, we never shout this out. 4.8 stars on G2 with over 2,000 reviews. That's great. Shout out Ramp.
World class.
Okay,
so another.
The floor price is like around 10 ETH, so that's like almost $3,000.
3,000?
Sure, 30,000.
30,000. Yeah, that's like not a gag gift. Maybe for the man who has everything.
Yes, for the man who has everything. Great gag gift.
It is pink elephant.
We'll see.
At Sun Valley.
But by Christmas time.
Do they do pink elephants at Sun Valley? I feel like they should.
Maybe.
feel like
We'll have to ask
all the
some
billionaires
of
should
our
give each other
friends that are there this
gifts.
week. So in other news, Robinhood CEO Vlad is raising at $900 million valuation for a math foundation model startup. And Vlad and Robinhood have been on a pretty generational run, but this does feel a bit top signal-y, right? Especially in the context of Grok one-shotting PhD level math in the announcement on Wednesday. So interested to follow that one. Optimistic, but again,
mathematical superintelligence.
Historically, when we've seen CEOs of public companies start ripping, second companies and then getting these types of valuations without a lot of underlying revenue, it can end poorly. Andrew Wilkinson is giving stock tips. He hit the timeline today. I'll read through it. He was highlighting a company, historically a value investor, but this morning...
his whole thing's like the Warren Buffett stuff, right? Yeah.
The Berkshire Hathaway for the internet.
Yeah, that's right.
He says, there are many ways to profit from the AI boom, but my favorite is IREN. I rarely buy stocks. The private market is way too attractive, but every once in a while, I see something that stops me cold. In 2025, it's IREN. I call it a Picasso I found at a garage sale. The stock is up 54% since he recommended it on My First Million, but it's still cheap. Here's the trade in a nutshell. U.S. capacity for energy and compute is highly constrained. 2, permitting and building facilities takes years. 3, AI scaling laws are continuing to deliver, but even if they don't, tons of compute is required for inference. IREN is a highly reputable, publicly traded Bitcoin miner with massive data centers mid-build in Texas. It pivoted away from mining Bitcoin at these new facilities to instead build them out for AI training and inference. Once completed, these facilities should generate in the range of $2 billion in new cash flow.
What is this company's name? IREN?
IREN. Even if AI completely fizzles, these facilities are highly valuable as traditional data centers or can be rolled back to mine Bitcoin. So it's an AI thesis, but if AI doesn't work out, we can still mine Bitcoin. The entire market cap is currently $3.8 billion. So, Andrew, I don't think this is investment advice, but it sounds like it. Interested to see where this one goes. But anyway, anytime you see a value investor start trying to cash in on the AI boom, you should be a little bit wary. Harry Stebbings today
also
was calling.
Not, like it doesn't have earnings, right? It's a
No.
company. It's trading around $4 billion.
I don't think it's ever generated any profit.
I mean, it says 23 million in EBITDA, but in 2024. So I don't think it's like losing that much money. And I guess net income in the last quarter was 24 million, but the net income to market cap ratio there is 40, I guess. So still pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, the thing here is
doesn't feel like a Buffett
at the same
stock.
time, Satya is pulling back
Yep.
on new data center development. He's
Yep.
happy to be a leaser. You have incredible neo clouds
Yep.
that have deep domain expertise.
Yeah.
The IREN team, I don't think, has a bunch of team around running large AI training or inferencing.
Yeah.
And so, anyways,
Just feels like they're a little bit late to that party because there's already like 3 or 4. Did IREN make the Cluster Max Dylan Patel article?
I doubt it because they're not
Cluster
online
Max.
yet, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, because SemiAnalysis does the cluster max rating for all the neo clouds, including the hyperscaler clouds, and I feel like they did not have. Let me see. IREN, I don't think is on here. TensorWave. There are so many: RunPod, Lambda, Scaleway, SMC, Azure, Nebius, Together, Crusoe, Lepton, Oracle, CoreWeave, AWS.
So hyper competitive market. Unclear if this Bitcoin miner is going to be able to pivot into AI training and inference in this when they're up against the players that you just mentioned. Another top signal, I'm not going to go out and say that this is impossible, but Harry Stebbings is calling for $8 trillion NVIDIA in the next 5 years. Private markets investor backed a bunch of unicorns, starting to make very specific sort of price predictions on the timeline.
The specificity of the price prediction is interesting. I was thinking about that. As we talk about tech companies, should we be trying to boil down to price targets? And I just feel like that's not the domain of talking heads necessarily, or podcasters,
or private markets investors.
It's just hard because to do a proper price analysis on a big public stock, you really have to look at the financials. You have to read the financial reports. You need to actually understand the underlying financials. The vibes-based analysis doesn't seem appropriate usually, but
who knows?
I mean,
sometimes vibes are all you need, John.
Yeah, it's certainly been when was NVIDIA a $2 trillion stock? When was the last doubling? In the last year or something? I don't know. We can pull up the NVIDIA chart and see.
Moving on, another incredible top signal. Circle, a great American stablecoin company, is trading at a 2,300 PE ratio. Nearly at once, I think they eclipsed Coinbase's valuation very briefly.
Really? No way.
Despite the fact that they give half of their revenue to Coinbase as part of their distribution partnership. So again, lots of excitement around stablecoins. Feels like Circle could potentially be a little over its skis, but it's a great company and they have a lot of advantages now. But the very euphoric multiple. Another top signal we have is Soham Parikh. We had him on the show just a week ago. This same sort of thing was happening in 2021, 2022, where engineers were really ramping up moonlighting activity, right? Totally. They'd be working at Meta and then working at some during startup or things like that. COVID maybe accelerated it. But again, if companies are so desperate to hire great engineers that they'll run these like super fast hiring cycles, put up with people, generally talented people that are underperforming, right? Which Soham was not delivering, was making a lot of excuses, and a lot of people rightly let him go quickly.
Yeah, it's just the nature of like the dynamic of just competition. Like if your competitors are hiring really fast and you need to hire really fast, you're just like, okay, well, we don't need to go deeper, so let's wind up fast tracking this person. So you wind up hiring the same person 5 times, I guess.
It happens. It
is just like a funny anecdote that like is like, oh wow, those were some pretty crazy times. Remember that anecdote? Remember this anecdote? It feels like we're in this.
Moving on, Masa top blasting or potentially top blasting. Anytime historically Masa getting into the headlines, whether that's Stargate, structuring this $30 billion investment where nobody knows, and the $500 billion, nobody really knows where the money's coming from. They're exciting, big headline numbers, but unclear if he will actually be able to deliver on that. I think him getting in one of the breakout consumer AI winners, which is OpenAI, is smart. He should have exposure there. But I think everybody should be a little bit uneasy that he's pulling out the checkbook and writing numbers of that size.
Also investing in not just OpenAI, but like a new company that is a data center holding company that may not have the same economics as OpenAI. So there's a big question there about like how much he deploys. I'm trying to remember we did that whole deep dive on Masa, and he made a ton of money on AMD, but when he made that investment, it was like a way less frothy time. Or it wasn't AMD. It was what was the SoftBank chip deal?
ARM.
ARM, yeah. When did that ARM deal happen? SoftBank owns roughly 90% of ARM. They acquired it in 2016 for $32 billion and later took it public in 2023. I'm trying to think, 2016, was that a particularly frothy time for him to get into that deal? Because he has done a number of really great deals, but when like the
other one is Yahoo. You remember he had this crazy meeting with the Yahoo team where he basically was like, take my money or I'm gonna, and he was like, didn't he ask? He was like, who are your competitors?
I'm gonna give money to your competitor.
And he didn't even know who the competitors were, but he said, if you don't take my money, I'm gonna go give the same check to them. So they ended up taking it. He acquired approximately 41% of the company at somewhere around a $200 million valuation. When Yahoo went public in 1996, he had an instant paper profit of $150 million, but then at the peak of the dot-com bubble, Yahoo was valued at $125 billion. So anyways, phenomenal investment, but very different valuation and ownership targets and unclear. I would love to see OpenAI get for profit and get public, but we'll have to see. Going down the list, another classic, Pomp SPAC that we had Pomp on the show to talk about.
SPACs are back.
SPACs are back. Pomp's got a SPAC. A lot of people were calling that a top signal. I'm excited to see what Pomp does with his. But in general, this extreme retail excitement around these sort of Bitcoin treasury companies is fascinating in the context of it now being very easy to get Bitcoin exposure in a variety of different ways. I'm not sure we need a bunch of net new Bitcoin treasury companies.
Yeah, it's mostly that like whenever there's a new trend or a bubble, it's very easy to map like, okay, there's one company that it's really working. This is massively successful. Like everyone is using ChatGPT. Like AI is a thing. It is real. The internet was real. Google was real. Amazon was real. But the 25th Amazon copycat did not do well. And so that's always the risk, is that you've applied like the same overarching theme to something that's like so far down the power law that it will never grow into the valuation that it's been assigned. That's always the risk.
Yep.
What else do you have?
Doricko updating his timelines. That happened Monday. We had him on the show. It was a fun conversation. I think Doricko has remained incredibly bullish, and I think he rightfully is. He also is being somewhat of a realist and being like, I don't think that AI is priced in to the market broadly, but I do think that some of the promises of AI will take another couple years, another 5 years, et cetera, to really deliver, versus some of the much more hyper-aggressive AI 2027. You might say that AI 2027 itself was, in hindsight, that could end up being like the number one top signal, which is that basically, if you haven't read the kind of study paper essay, they basically say that by 2027, a single foundation model company could just be acquiring every auto manufacturer in the U.S. to develop, millions and millions of robots that would then, build, and we would hit this sort of fast takeoff.
Meanwhile, Apple
scenario.
is like, we can't possibly get out a slightly lighter VR headset until 2027.
Yeah.
and this is what we do. Like we make
We've
stuff.
been working on this for a decade.
We make stuff like every year. We are the best at it. We make the most stuff and the best stuff, pretty much. The most complicated stuff, that's what we make. We're in the widgets business. And making that headset lighter, it's going to take us a full 2 years. Refresh that.
And I liked 2027. It was a fun read, very thought provoking. But I think that we will be we'll have to circle back on it 2030 or even 2027.
I mean, the big thing was our conversation yesterday with Meter about the actual, like, are we close to reinforcing AI where the AI models are self-improving, and I was kind of like, okay, I really hadn't read the full report beforehand, so I didn't really know what to expect. I was blown away because I was expecting something between like Arc AGI. It feels like with Arc AGI we're 10% towards solving something there, which is just like, a basic versatility in AI, that it can solve things that humans can solve, and it's not narrowly defined. It's generalizable now. Arc AGI is like the perfect example of like, we maybe we've done intelligence, but we haven't done general intelligence yet. And everyone keeps saying, oh, this is AGI, that's AGI. And Arc AGI is really holding it back, saying like, well, if it was truly general, should probably be able to solve this basic puzzle that a kid can solve. And for that, it's like, okay, we're going from like 9% to 15%. Like we are still like, 85% in, not even like, nowhere close. And the Meter report, I was expecting it to be like, well, yes, we're seeing, slight gains on self-reinforcing AI development, and the AI is starting to help build itself slightly, and the result was like, no, it's actually setting us back. in this domain, it's not working at all. And so that was like a pretty big, like, okay, there's a completely different, like, not that it's not useful. The stuff's useful all over the place. I saw Rune talking about that. He was like, for so many different projects, it is useful. But for the frontier, like, it's not the product that's advancing the frontier at all. But I mean, that probably bridges into the talent wars. But bridging in, I do think that in hindsight, we will look back in maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and think about the signing bonuses and general offers of AI researchers in June and July of 2025 as being somewhat of a top signal. I think it is very strategic and makes sense from Zuck and Meta's point of view, right? When you look at their
AI CapEx. It makes sense for them to have the best possible team, and they have the balance sheet and the general profitability in order to do something like that. But in general, AI researchers who, 6 years ago didn't get any attention, much attention at all from the media. The fact that they're now trading for more than NBA superstars, more than Tim Cook's annual total comp. It will be an obvious one in hindsight. The other one, $6.5 billion acqui-hire of IO. I think that, again, you can rationalize it in the sense that it's a couple points of OpenAI to put together the best founding hardware engineering team probably in the world that's available collectively. But at the same time, again, it's quite a lot considering the company was barely, I think, a year old at the time.
Yeah, it's interesting because ChatGPT is so installed. It feels like it's already Lindy, and it feels like even if there is some massive correction in the market or in AI generally, or some pullback, people are still going to be using ChatGPT as an app, right? In the same way that Amazon made it through the .com crash. The question is what will it take for the IO acquisition to look like the Instagram acquisition in hindsight? They still kind of have to go from 0 to 1 with that project, which is very different than Instagram, which was already a mature and growing business. It wasn't really
they'd figured out
profitable.
ads really well.
Well, Instagram, were they doing ads?
They
already?
weren't doing ads.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying, but Meta was we know how to make
it was
an
a
ad
perfectly
platform.
perfectly complementary business.
We know how to monetize social users better than anyone on earth.
And you have gotten a bunch of
a lot
social
of
users, and it's working and it's growing.
Yeah.
And you're even.
And
on
we
a
can
new
actually
platform.
accelerate the growth of the business in a bunch of different ways.
So it'd be very different if it was okay, yes, IO is selling, it's a small but growing hardware company that people love.
With a product people love.
With a product people love, and maybe they can't manufacture enough of it, or maybe they're under monetizing it right now. But people love it. But it's it's pre-launch. Multi-billion-dollar acquisition for pre-launch is pretty crazy.
Yep. Going down the list. What else do we have? I think the tokenized private company shares. I think it
that is interesting.
Without Republic and Robinhood both creating products that are completely unauthorized, basically derivatives. The companies that they're offering are angry at them, saying don't do this. It's the Spider-Man meme of top signals pointing at each other. Everyone's this is the top signal. That's the top anyways, I'm excited about these experiments.
Yeah.
I just think that I'm a little bit wary. And then last but not least, Satya doing 2 rounds of layoffs this year. Mike, we've reported on this before. Microsoft does routine layoffs. I think they're pretty good at kind of identifying underperformers or people that should just move on to different roles. But Satya, I think will look back and he's been excited, but pragmatic, right? I think that he will, when the dust settles, I think he'll look pretty good.
Yeah, I wonder, if there's some massive pullback, and I don't even know what that would look like. Essentially, if let's assume that the current capability of AI models essentially plateaus for a decade or something like that, just hypothetically, and they're useful. But it's not some reinforcing fast takeoff super intelligence. What is Microsoft a big loser in that scenario? It seems like Satya is pretty well positioned, right?
Totally.
The company prints cash, is very healthy, has done these layoffs. They'd have to retreat from some stuff and some of the promises that they made, maybe. But in general, it seems like they'd be really, really well set up to just stick through. But I'm trying to think of going back to the .com bubble and the the effect of Oracle's mainframe business. Probably made it through pretty smoothly because it was just really long contracts with companies that were getting true business value out of it and weren't about to churn because it was not this experimental if you had moved from paper to an Oracle mainframe, you weren't oh, this stuff's overhyped, it's not going to solve all my problems, I'm going to go back to paper.
Yep.
And so in the same way, it's if you're on Microsoft Cloud or Azure, or, everyone's using Excel, and they're like, yeah, maybe we're getting some value out of this Copilot upgrade that we did. Maybe we pull back from that. Maybe, our employees like rewriting emails every once in a while.
Yep.
Like if they pull back from that, it's not disastrous to the fundamentals of Microsoft.
Yeah, and we didn't even cover how there's a set of labs with billions of revenue, and then there's a set of labs that are valued similarly that have zero revenue.
Yeah.
And basically $100 billion of market cap, with very little revenue supporting that at all.
The question like a year ago was, what was the who's actually making profit off of AI? And it was only NVIDIA. NVIDIA was making more than 100% of all the profit combined, because all the other companies were loss-making by comparison. And now like that narrative has taken so much hold that NVIDIA is the largest company in the world, and it's put this massive target on their back at $4 trillion, where all of their major customers want to get off NVIDIA, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like Google did it, Amazon's doing it, and Microsoft's saying that they want to do it, and Apple's was never really a big NVIDIA buyer, but the on-device inference is crazy too. Like if you think about, if we don't have any major breakthroughs in how AI works, like the capabilities, and we just want the current capabilities everywhere as cheap as possible, like on-device inference becomes really, really valuable, right? And all of a sudden, that drops demand for NVIDIA potentially, right?
We might need to do a SWOT analysis, John.
Yeah.
No, I mean, NVIDIA is an incredible company. Jensen's an incredible CEO. They were perfectly positioned for this, multi-decade technology trend.
And it was way underpriced at the start of the boom.
Yeah.
Like the orders really did come in. The training runs really did happen.
Yep.
The question is just, is that next order of magnitude the situational awareness from Leopold Aschenbrenner, this thesis that we're going to build a $5 billion cluster, then a $50 billion cluster, then a $500 billion cluster? Like, is that going to happen, or will there be a hiccup? And this is always my question for like the doomers. Everyone was saying like P-doom, what's my percentage chance that it goes bad? And I was like, the much more interesting question is P-stagnation. What is the probability that something happens, and whether it's technological or even regulatory, like if you compare AI to nukes, with nukes, we had the ability to make nuclear reactors, and humanity as a whole basically just said, we're going to pause, and we stopped building them. And now we're talking about building them again, but if you look at that curve, it is a perfect S curve. It's like we had no nuclear reactors, then all of a sudden we grew them exponentially, and it looked like, wow, we're going to have energy too cheap to meter, and then it flatlined. And we were, and for a variety of reasons, they're hard to build. Then there were regulations. There was just general fear. So there were a lot of different things. And I would always go to the doomers and just say, like, even if all of your assumptions about the capabilities of the technology are correct, what is the probability that there's just, like, if you are successful doomers and you freak everyone out, there might be regulation that just says don't build anything bigger.
Yep.
Or it could be economics. It could be physics, as we've talked about with this idea that at a certain point, like, you can't put more than 100% of global GDP towards building clusters. Like, it's impossible. And so, like, there should be this like S curve there. And that's why, all the AI researchers are now focused on like the compression of learning and like the actual algorithms and getting more efficiency, because like there will be, there should be some sort of like, top upper bound of the amount that you can build. But that certainly hasn't been like a thesis broadly in the market. People have just been like, we'll just 10x computing and then 10x it again, and then 10x it again. And it's like, it probably will happen over a period of time.
Great investment strategy, by the way. Just get a 10x.
And then 10x it again.
10x it again, and then 10x it again.
Yeah.
And last but not least,
you have another one?
Almost forgot about this one, but it should be included. The White House meme coins, which feels
crazy
like
times.
Very long ago. It was the local top, basically, at the time.
It was the local top.
Many people were calling the top.
Yes.
Just hurling meme coins.
Yes.
Out of the White House.
Yeah. So that's the real question: is like how local is this top? if it is a top, because it could be, we've been in the kangaroo market. It could just be, a couple months. Even the interest rate sell-off, the post-SVB crash, that was like one hard year, right? And then we started building back and we got the AI narrative. And so there's this big question about Doricko pushed his timelines back, but he's not saying that superintelligence will never arrive. He's not saying that AI will never break through these things. He's just saying that it'll happen a little bit further out. And so the question of, these meme coins being a top signal or all this crazy stuff, it's like there could be like a short-term sell-off and then rebuilding back up on something else. So I don't know. It's always hard to manage these things and predict, but it's certainly fun to highlight all these things and at least be aware of them.
It's good to keep track of them.
Yeah, you got to be tracking the top.
Keep your own list.
Sure.
Keep your own list.
Yeah. Anyway, let me tell you about Graphite. Code review for the age of AI. Graphite helps teams on GitHub ship higher quality software faster. You can get started for free at graphite.dev. Let's go through some more timeline. Joe Weisenthal says, thinking about the recent episode we did with Charlie McElligott, where he referred to Trump as the human VIX. I like that. He just creates volatility out of thin air. It really is.
Yeah, Trump coin is up 20%.
Yeah.
Over the last week.
Volatility traders have to be doing really well.
Although it is
and probably
down
will
dramatically since.
What is the actual market cap of Trump coin? Is it sticking around?
Circulating market cap is $2 billion. Fully diluted is $10 billion. The price per Trump is currently it peaked at $45 and it is at $10 today.
Wild.
So.
I like this one from I Am Developer. The dumbest person you know is being told, "You're absolutely right" by ChatGPT. It is funny to imagine that is somewhat is the Glazegate deranging society in some way? Is the fact that everyone's getting this constant positive reinforcement? Because if you go to it and you're like, "Hey, should I go 100x long in the market right now?" It's like, yeah, you actually. From my interactions, you are at the level of Citadel. You definitely could just be a hedge fund manager if you went full time on it. You could do it. You're definitely not just a retail trader who's going to get hosed this time every
you're
time.
different.
You're different. Tracy Alloway has a funny post this week in a nutshell. Do you see this one? Markets don't like tariffs, but Trump just imposed more tariffs and markets are at all-time highs because markets think he's going to pull them back. It's hilarious. It's great. We are just in this cycle of even the bad news is just a catalyst for good news when it's reversed.
Yeah, that's right.
And the psychology of the market is just total up only.
Credit to Grok right now. Maybe it really is super intelligence because I asked it, should I go turbo long the market right now? Mm-hmm. And it says, deciding whether to go turbo long means using turbo warrants or similarly leveraged derivatives to bet on rising market prices. Requires careful consideration of your financial situation, risk tolerance, and current market conditions. Since turbo long refers to a high risk leveraged financial product, anyways, it breaks it down for me. I don't think it necessarily.
Does it make a recommendation though?
It says not advisable for most investors.
Okay.
Should I ask it, but what if I'm built different?
Well,
it says, haha, love the confidence. If you're built different and ready to roll the dice with a turbo long, let's cut through the noise and get real. Anyways, honestly, it says if you're going to do it, pick the right asset.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is good advice. If you're going to invest in the good companies.
It doesn't feel like talking to somebody. I would expect someone with super intelligence to have strong opinions, and I feel like none of the AIs really have
honestly, this is pretty sound advice.
Yeah.
So the pro move is test your turbo long strategy on a demo account.
Oh, okay.
To see if you're as different as you think without torching real cash.
That's good.
It does say not financial advice.
Yeah,
I'm going to take it as financial advice.
Tyler, have you been playing with Grok 4 at all?
I have not.
No.
All right. Well, sign up for.
What about the new web browser?
Yeah. So I'm using the Perplexity web browser.
Yeah.
It's called Comet.
Okay. How is it?
It's pretty cool. It's so.
Pitch me it. Why would I use that instead of Chrome?
Yeah. So I think the main thing is it can read what's on your screen.
Okay.
It can also sometimes interact with stuff on your screen.
Okay.
So I'm in Google Sheets right now. I have this list of names.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get like, okay, where do these people work? And so first I said, just give me a list of these people on the screen. It put that into the chat. And then I said, okay, where do these people work? It gave me that. And then it started to like load them in, like it would interact with the Google Sheet. It would like input them in, which is like super useful.
That's pretty cool.
But then it kind of started breaking. So it's like, I think the product is like very early on still.
Yeah.
And it's also pretty slow.
Yeah.
But I think this like kind of paradigm, if it was like super fast and like much kind of cleaner, I think it'd be really useful.
So I'm hearing like it saved you a copy paste from like copying the sheet into a different tab of like ChatGPT, basically.
Yeah, basically.
That's the first thing.
It basically just moves 2 tabs into one.
Yeah.
How does the search is like I'm assuming the default search is Perplexity?
Yes.
How fast is that?
So that's pretty quick. It's just when it's like interacting with the page, it's like really slow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. How does it compare to Cluely? Like the I don't know, the design trade-off of like new browser interacting with like only the website versus like the whole computer.
Yeah, I mean, Cluely is definitely more catered toward like the video call or like video input, audio input.
Yeah.
It's like I think that it's kind of different use cases.
Yeah.
Because
Cluely's also more like proactive, right? Like I would ask you a question over Zoom.
Yeah.
And Cluely would just hear that question and automatically query it.
Yeah, yeah.
As you've been browsing around with the Perplexity Comet browser, has it ever just done something without you being like, go do a thing?
No. Yeah.
No. Okay.
It's always like I prompt it, it gives me something. Where
Interesting.
Cluely is like you have it running, and then you can query it, but it also will just give you stuff.
I feel like this is that debate about like push versus pull from AI. Like if I have to tell the computer to go do something versus like it does it preemptively for me, proactively for me. I'm thinking about like Google Chrome will do like auto translation on websites. Like if you land on a Spanish language website, it'll just understand that you want it translated into English. It'll translate it and then just re-render it, and then it pops up a little bar at the top, and then you can choose to go back to the Spanish language one if you speak Spanish, I guess. And I feel like chopping down some of those like proactive ones, and you see this with like when I go to the Wall Street Journal, they have an AI on their side, an LLM summary for like 3 bullet points from every article, and they do that proactively on their side. I don't have to ask it. So there's always this question of like, where's the right place for the interaction to sit? How expensive or wasteful is it just to like do that interaction on everything? But like you could imagine a situation where the browser, every time you hit a news website, it's pre-populating the obvious questions or the extra one layer deeper or one layer shallower. Like here's a summary of what you're reading, and then here's extra context on things that are one layer deeper. Because when I go to a website or an article, I'm usually trying to understand, like, give me the high level, and then give me like, if I went through and clicked on every person in this article and went to their Wikipedia, that's usually how I browse. And so I guess if it could do that a little bit faster, that might be valuable.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. I mean, there's always a worry about you're basically just like have this like bar on the side that's just full of slop if it's just like summarizing your page. But
yeah, I also wonder about it in the context of that meter results. Like Dwarkesh has a post here. He says, surely this doesn't have any implications for how I use AI and whether I'm fooling myself about how much more effective it's making my podcast prep, right? And I think that there might be something there where it's like, I could just read a Wall Street Journal article here, or I could pull up a Wall Street Journal article with a sidebar of like ChatGPT summary and also ChatGPT extra queries to give me more data. But at a certain point, like I just have to get the information into my brain one way or another. And so giving me like 3 layers of abstraction on top of it, it's not necessarily improving the actual time for me to understand what's going on with buyout firms poaching young bankers.
The question is like, it's much faster to read a great summary of something, but you're going to if you spend 10 seconds reading it, you're going to retain a lot less of the context and the relevant information if you just spent 5 minutes reading the article.
Yep.
So with ChatGPT, like style summaries, do you just need to do you still need to spend 5 minutes of time reading a bunch of different summaries around the same topic in order to get the same level of of context?
I think there's two things. Like one is that like there's just no substitute for spending a full day with a topic, like reading a book and researching something and reading as much as you can about a topic, talking to people about a topic. Like the more time that you spend on a topic, like whether it's searching ChatGPT or reading Wikipedia or reading articles or talking to people, like it's just the more time you spend with something, the more information you're compressing, whether that's a ton of summaries or a ton of long form, like there's just no substitute for like the amount of time that you put into something. Because if you're like, you read a summary of a book that was really good and I read the full book, and I spent 5 hours with it and you spent 1 hour, like I just have an advantage over you on the information. And then on the flip side, it's like, there is an art to summarization. Like the work of a great biographer is to summarize someone's life and to summarize all these conversations that they have about all the people around that person and read all the books about that person. And like, when you think about like, you know, David Senra with the Founders Podcast, like he reads the book, he summarizes it, but he does it in a way that is like 10 out of 10. And I feel like all the LLMs are very like mid at stuff generally. Yeah. And they do a very 5 out of 10 job, like Doricko said.
Well, this is the crazy thing. Arthur Rock on X reported yesterday that this company Headway, which is the #1 book summary app, just released a Series A. Or sorry, they just did a Series A. They are at 200 million of ARR, growing 2x year over year with 30% net income.
Yes.
And you would just think that that business would be getting destroyed by...
So I saw that, and I was thinking about Francois Cholet had a tweet about this. Cholet. Am I going to find this? Cholet. How do I spell Francois Cholet? Here we go. He had a post here that said, in my personal experience with Duolingo, I found that it isn't an education app, it's a mobile game. It's completely ineffective at teaching you languages, but it's quite entertaining and great at making you feel like you're learning. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that company is in fact less about actually teaching you that information any faster and more just about repurposing information in an entertaining way, and it's giving you some sort of value that way, and so you're happy to pay for it because it's just a good way to spend your time. And so I wouldn't be surprised if like there hasn't been any massive breakthrough in how you deliver information to a human being. Like their brain has a certain I/O, and you have to get the information in. We don't just have like the Matrix where you just go, oh, now I know Kung Fu, right? That's not what we've created.
Not yet.
But repurposing stuff in like a fun and different format certainly seems like it has value to the tune of serious financials for that company. And I wouldn't. And I would say like that company's success is very much independent of like actually game-changing artificial intelligence. It's more about the actual implementation of the app and the experience of using the app.
Totally.
Anything else from the browser wars?
Get on Dia.
I think I'm
try
just gonna keep playing around with it.
Keep playing around with it.
See.
Can you download Dia?
Yeah, download Dia and let us know which one you'd pick over those two, because they're both AI browsers. OpenAI is going to have one in maybe a couple weeks, I think. That was the Reuters reporting. So we'll have to try that too. Demo all these, see what is happening.
The browser wars, brought to you by Chromium, by Google
The
Chrome.
browsers will definitely be designed in Figma. Think bigger, build faster. Figma helps
right.
design and development teams build products together, get started for free. We should read through Joe Weisenthal's analysis because he says green shoots for the economy. I was texting with him. I said, there's so many top signals. He said, there's been top signals my entire career. Maybe this time is different. We'll see. He says it's not just the stock market that's booming. There are signs that the U.S. economy has some wind at its back right now. And this is what was interesting about the ZERP era. Even though there was so much froth, so many overfunded companies at 100x ARR, it didn't destroy America because the health of the consumer, the health of the core economy was actually doing pretty well. There was just this tech layer on top that was extremely frothy, but the baseline of like where mortgages were, how much debt people had, defaults on car loans, all of that stuff was much, much more stable than 2008. And so that's why we didn't go into like a depression after SVB crashed. We just went into like what most people would call like a correction, not a depression. So that's interesting. So Joe is breaking it down, and we're going to talk to Shaun Frank about this too. The Amazon Prime Day sales data came out. So I completely missed it. Prime Day is in the summer. It's not Black Friday. It's like the opposite time of the year.
Smart for Amazon to basically be like, we're going to have
sales.
2 Black Fridays.
It works. But apparently Prime Day sales dropped. And he says, well, Prime Day sales may be a worrisome signal about U.S. economic momentum. I want to observe the counterpoint and the fact that maybe the economy is seeing some green shoots. But before I talk about the economy, let me talk about the market for a second. Despite all the uncertainty and negative seeming news developments, the lines keep going up. Trump recently announced 50% tariffs on Brazil due to the country's treatment of its former president. Nobody cares. Trump talked about more aggressive tariffs on Japan and Korea. Barely a blip. Maybe the story is that none of these things will have much bearing on the major market growth drivers, namely AI, so they don't matter. Maybe the story is that Trump will cave in the end, and so these headlines are just noise. We've seen this before, but I don't really know. Either way,
maybe it's the Panicans getting off the sidelines.
Panicans. Yeah, I mean, they learned their lesson if they sold at the bottom when Trump was saying, like, don't panic, we're going up. Like, they feel stung by that. And so, people learn the most recent lesson most recently. But either way, there's just not a lot of sensitivity in the market to all of the latest headlines. Okay, but back to the real economy. Here the picture is mixed because actually some of the indicators seem to be going in a positive direction. So for example, initial jobless claims, a number I like to track closely, have actually fallen for 4 straight weeks. Today Delta Airlines is surging 15% after the company reinstated its earnings forecast and said that demand is coming back. People are flying more. According to tracking from Civics, which runs a massive ongoing survey online, perceptions about the economy, while still net negative, are at their highest levels in years. And this is the chart that I think the guys were pulling up. It's a little bit hard to see because it's very wide. But basically, from 2017 to 2020, everyone was very optimistic about the condition of the national economy. Through Inauguration Day, the tax law signed, the stock market dropped, stocks began to decline, but people were still optimistic about the economy. And then coronavirus kind of changed everything. There was this massive, massive drop where we were hitting circuit breakers like every day for like weeks. It was terrible. I remember it very vividly.
We barely had sports.
Yeah, we barely had sports. Yeah, the NBA canceling was crazy. That was like wow, this is really, really serious. And so
I think everybody was looking around saying, we're living through history right now, and I actually don't like it.
Yeah, everyone lost their jobs who was in like retail or any sort of service industry, and then the NBA players lost their jobs because they're like, you can't even play basketball. And so it was a disaster. And since then, the reporting for the last 5 years from this survey has been net negative, basically, but it's at its highest rate in basically years. And so all the way through Inauguration Day, still negative, and dropping through Russia invading Ukraine, and then dropped after the Inauguration Day and the tariff announcement, but is climbing back up, which Joe is highlighting as potential green shoots. So he says, yesterday, the New York Fed released its latest survey of consumer expectations, and it said that respondents are anticipating lower inflation, improving job prospects, and expect easier access to credit. A big theme from a month ago was that the economy was decelerating, but the Fed might hold off on rate cuts because of uncertainty about the ultimate tariff levels. But it also seems plausible, at least right now, based on a little smattering of data, that part of the story here is economic tailwinds. Oh, and by the way, Citi's U.S. Economic Surprise Index, which gauges how all data is coming in relative to expectations, recently turned positive again. It's good news. So, I don't know, all these top signals, it might be too much top signal. Might be too early, We might
just be getting started.
Yeah. Also, Citi put on a buy rating on one of the companies that you were talking about.
Which one?
I forget. One of the ones that was like an example of a top signal. Citi was like, buy it. I forget which one. Maybe, I don't know. But
as Switching
Let me tell
gears.
you about Vanta real quick. Automate compliance, manage risk, prove trust continuously. Vanta's trust management platform takes the manual work out of your security and compliance process and replaces it with continuous automation, whether you're pursuing your first framework or managing a complex program. So I want to have a debate.
Time for a debate.
Time for a debate.
The great debate.
Shaun Maguire versus Augustus Doricko. Good friends of the show. Hung out with them both multiple times. Very interesting PR dust-ups this week. Very, very interesting how they got in the pickle that they got in, the different pickles, and then different strategies getting out of it. And I want to compare them and see if there's any lessons from how you should handle a bunch of negative attention. And so Augustus, we had him on the show Monday, was sort of like being attacked or canceled, but by the right, by the far right, by conspiracy theorists, kind of the tinfoil hat right-wing crowd, all around this idea that he was cloud seeding, 2 days before the massive floods in Texas that wound up killing a lot of people. And so it was this very, very serious scenario. People were dead. It was a natural disaster. And he kind of was just going about his business, like cloud seeding. Oh, someone bought it here, I'm going to go deliver it. Someone bought it there. He's running his business, and then he gets dragged into this thing, and he has to all of a sudden.
And to be clear, very fair and good that people were asking questions, right? Like natural process.
Yeah.
Like questions should be asked. It's not like they
teach cloud seeding in high school. So I think.
And it's a scary topic. People are generally kind of wary of weather modification, whether it's from a religious angle or health reasons or chemtrails or whatever they sort of subscribe to.
Yeah.
I think it was right for people to ask questions.
There's been so many examples throughout history of like there's a technology that's great, it has a promise to do X, Y, or Z, and then there's like a negative side effect that comes out of that. And so Augustus he just got sucked into this because there's like this very acute story about the Texas floods, and he's right there. And so he has to go explain cloud seeding and what he does and make his case as aggressively as possible. Shaun Maguire, on the other hand, kind of waded into a debate or like a argument over Mamdani, the mayor of New York, in a very different world. Like Shaun lives in California, is a tech investor, is not directly affected by New York City politics, and could have stayed out of it entirely, and instead was like proactively
He's not
attacking.
known for staying out of it.
No, the man loves the debate. He loves a fight. And I
think his position generally was you need to be vocal and loud about extremism, and whether or not people believe that Zoran.
Not Zohan. That's the Adam Sandler movie.
Yes. Whether or not people believe that Mamdani is an extremist, personally, I've seen some of his old posts. It seems like it has some very extreme views at
maybe
times.
He's changed, maybe he hasn't. He's kind of gone back and forth. He was saying defund the police. Now he's saying he doesn't want to do that.
He did, and Shaun's one of Shaun's points was that Mamdani was sort of celebrating the third Intifada, and I believe that Shaun brought up that the last Intifada, there was a bunch of suicide bombings. It's like kind of a crazy thing to promote.
But the interesting point is that Shaun could have, if Shaun hadn't posted, no one would be talking about Shaun Maguire, right? But Augustus didn't come out and comment on anything, and everyone was asking him for comment. It hit the timeline from other people.
Yeah,
Shaun's crisis started with a Shaun post, so it's a very different inciting element.
Creation versus reaction.
Yeah, something like that. And so my question is does that necessitate a different comm strategy? Because they had very different comm strategies. So what did Augustus do? He went direct, right, and was posting his side and his data and his opinions and engaging with everyone that was attacking him, quote tweeting them, and doing it in a way that was slightly funny, but also very serious, sharing as much data. And I think being very diligent about like speaking their own language.
Yeah. If he sees a post pop up that's going viral, he's jumping on it.
He puts it in the comments and then he also quote tweets it.
Yeah.
And then also he went direct to a lot of the big platforms.
Yes, I have a list here.
That the critiques were coming from.
So he came on our show Monday.
Yep.
We had a good conversation.
He did like
and then he went
X space that day too.
Yep. And then he proceeded to go on CNN, Fox News, Pirate Wires, InfoWars, Steve Bannon, Glenn Beck, and Tim Pool, all within the span.
And those are all conservative outlets, basically.
While working with a bunch of other legacy media outlets to provide more
There's a
context.
Washington Post article here now.
Yeah.
And so he's gone across the spectrum. What's interesting is that Shaun has not done any interviews, I believe. And he certainly hasn't like reached across the aisle to his attackers and said like, I'm going to engage with you. And maybe that's the right move. I don't know.
I mean, I think he's been engaging over and over.
I don't think he commented on that Wall Street Journal article.
No, I'm not saying he wasn't taking the sort of traditional media approach, but he's been very active and engaging with people bringing up saying, hey, like basically the key issue was the definition of Islamist. Many people saw that and thought he was putting all Muslims in a bucket. His intention and approach was to point out extremism, Islamist extremism, and I think that just got like oftentimes in a post, context is lost, and so he was basically like trying to set the record straight. Also did a 30-minute video talking through kind of the original post and some of the reactions to it.
Yeah. So for me, it highlights like the two different styles of going direct. Yeah. There's going direct where you control 100% of the channel that your content is going out on. So it's your X account. It's a video that you create and you upload. It's a post that you write. And then there's going direct where you're not sending a liaison to CNN, but you are going on CNN. And that's and so Augustus did this interesting thing where like he definitely like went direct, but he also did all of the legacy media stuff. Like Fox News is legacy media. CNN is like legacy media and not in the traditional going direct playbook, but there's like this evolution. And I think it's risky. Like it is risky to go into someone else's platform. You go on InfoWars, it's going to have a certain aesthetic. You go on CNN, they might ask you some really hard question that you're not prepared for. They might try and make you look bad. Like this was the narrative around these like around the whole move of like just go direct, don't talk to the press directly, don't let them tell your story, tell your own story. Well, he's doing both, and it's interesting because it feels like it's working for Augustus. Like it feels like he handled this pretty well. I would give him a lot of credit. With Shaun, it's interesting. He did send out, there have been a few surrogates. So Joe Lonsdale went on TV and defended it and kind of explained it, but Shaun didn't. And I think these both might be good strategies. I'm not really like, there's a one size fits all here. They're very different situations.
Yeah, Bill Ackman came out in support of Shaun. There was a great post from Pat Grady, Sequoia partner.
I have it.
Pat said yesterday, this tweet expresses a personal view. I'm not very vocal on Twitter, and I'm sure this tweet will piss people off. If you're looking for drama, this is probably not it. This will be very disappointing to people with extreme views of any kind. And that's sort of the point. The purpose of this tweet is twofold: to express my support for the Muslim community and to express my support for my partner, Shaun Maguire. Pat says, some of my best friends are Muslim. They are warm, kind, wonderful people. I love them like family. They are feeling fear right now, fear for the safety of their families. This is not hypothetical. These are real people, loving parents and their sweet children who aren't sure if they can live here anymore. He goes on to say, some of my best friends are Jewish. They are warm, kind, wonderful people. I love them like family. They too have felt their fair share of fear over and over again for generations. This is not the experience any American of any background should have in this country. This is not what made America the greatest country on earth. Muslims are not the enemy. Jews are not the enemy. Extremists are the enemy. And when we let them sow the seeds of fear of the other, we are letting them win. So basically it goes on to say that this is really not about different cultures and people. It's more about long story short, you don't want to let the extremists win.
Yeah, or like put you in the bucket of extremists.
Yep. So anyways, interesting response. Both of them are not, these will be ongoing.
I wonder what the takeaway is for like with Rainmaker, like the core claim of the controversy was directly about Rainmaker's business. And essentially it was in many ways existential to Rainmaker because there's like proposed bans of the technology, right? And then there's also just the question of like, should cloud seeding be done at all or not, right? And that was like the vibe online was like, that was where the debate was. Whereas people are not debating like, should Sequoia invest in tech companies, right? It's like a completely separate thing. And so maybe it does merit like a different approach in terms of like PR management. I don't know. I think they both handled it well. I don't know that I would recommend anything differently. I'm just wondering if I guess the big question is like when should you step outside your core competency?
I think it's interesting to think about reach with these two strategies. I would imagine that Shaun has actually had more like reach, like actual eyeballs on his content.
Interesting.
Just kind of estimating based on how viral some of his posts have gone, I would assume he's gotten 50 million views on his posts this week.
Yeah.
Like a really, really crazy number.
Yeah.
And Augustus has gone on all these different platforms, but I imagine the actual reach is far lower when you add, if you go on Fox News on some random show, there might be 100,000 people that watch that segment.
Yeah, but maybe that's better because like the people like with Shaun, like he's trying to fight back against something that's like a general vibe or a general accusation of a bad vibe, which is like Islamophobia, right? Whereas Augustus is trying to fight against like very precise, pushback against his exact company and like the work that he's doing precisely. And so if I'm thinking about like, who is Shaun talking to? He's talking to like the broad audience of like people that perceive him as a person in tech.
Yeah.
And if I think about Augustus, he's thinking about like,
how do I save weather modification as an industry in the country?
Totally, like specific regulators, specific politicians, and specific like, and also like the local people who live down the street from the farmer who's going to pay for cloud seeding, who might go to their city council meeting and say, "Not in my backyard." So it's like it's people that are. I feel like the pushback against Shaun was very like broad and just like bad tech guy vibes, like just like negative broadly on the left and the folks that support Mamdani. They all like kind of just broadly don't like Shaun right now because of what he said. With Augustus, it's like there are a few people who were completely animated by the theory that he was responsible for the floods, and so he had to address them really deeply.
Defending his business, his industry, his actions.
Yeah. The question for me is like there are times when someone needs to like step up or stand up outside of their core business. And this kind of bridges to the Brian Armstrong piece at Coinbase about being like mission driven, which was basically like in that context, it was like Coinbase is not going to be commenting on all of the current things that are happening in the world, all the different politics. Like we're going to be focused on stuff that's related to crypto. And that was really well received. Then the question is like for venture capitalists, should they only step up and start talking about politics when it's like a ban on an important technology or a change to the way, carried interest is handled? Or should they go as far as to say, you know what, like I care about what's happening in New York City, even though I don't live there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's like, it's certainly like the riskiest. You're the furthest away from something where you'll immediately have everyone in your industry rally around you, or everyone because it's like, well, this is very core to their business. But at the same time, it's like, there is some value to just being like, this is less of just like an investor. This is just like a person, and they have opinions about everything. And so I'm interested to talk to them and work with them. because and it also, I mean, in the original post, like he did throw up a massive flag that was just like, I'm pro-capitalist. That's pro-America, right? And so the question of like, does this hurt Sequoia? I think we were talking about this earlier. It's like, no, because the people that were really bothered by this or like didn't get through this nuance and understand the Pat Grady response and understand him unpacking it, like probably were not going to be in the Sequoia portfolio, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me tell you about Linear. Linear is a purpose-built tool for planning and building products, meet the system for modern software development, streamline issues, projects, and product roadmaps. Go to linear.app.
Get your golden retriever set up on Linear. It's one of the greatest gifts that you can give them.
What else is in the timeline we should go through? There's so many good stories. We should go through this this story in the mansion section. Let's do that.
There we go. Finally.
There's a bunch of stuff.
A California ranch is for sale for about $50 million.
I really like this. There were two very interesting houses in the mansion section today, and they're both being sold by tech founders who I've never heard of, and some of them don't. One of them doesn't exist online. So this guy, tech entrepreneur Don McKinney, found himself at a crossroads in 2014 after 4 consecutive startups. Crazy. Including one that sold to Lucent Technology for billions of dollars.
I give him permission to call himself a serial entrepreneur.
He's the Don.
If you started 4 companies and you sold one for $1 billion, you can put serial entrepreneur in your bio.
Billions.
Billions.
I need to figure out exactly the whole deal here. I think this is, they have it here. So he basically, instead of doing another business, he basically retired and started building a crazy house. He chose the latter. He purchased roughly 1,100 acres of ranch space in Sonoma, California for $12 million and painstakingly restored it, spending $33 million over the years. Now McKinney is looking to sell the ranch, which has multiple residences, 2 lakes, 4 greenhouses, and a custom wood shop for around $50 million. Known as Sonoma Summit Ranch, the ranch is perched at the top of Sonoma Mountain, about an hour from San Francisco. That is prime real estate.
Great option for a GP at a platform fund that wants to maintain proximity.
I was about to say, is it really worth spending half of your bonus as an AI researcher on one house?
Yeah.
Or is that
in many ways your
unresponsible?
full bonus post-tax?
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
That's some ordinary income right there.
That's really, really rough. Anyway,
a Florida native, McKinney started his tech career in Silicon Valley in the 1980s as a founding vice president. Let's give it up for all the vice presidents out there. Of sales at Silicon Graphics.
That was a storied
which
firm.
Worked on 3D imaging.
Yes.
In 1991, he founded International Network Services, fantastic name, which was acquired by Lucent in 1999 for $3.7 billion.
1999 selling? Well, what are you doing, buddy?
I think he
Are
timed
you selling
it.
the top?
I think he timed it
You
perfectly.
hold on to that stock for 2 more years.
International
what happens?
Network Services. They don't
Great
make.
names.
They don't make
They
names.
don't name companies like this anymore.
Actually, they do now. People are bringing it back. What was the company we talked about earlier this week that was like?
I don't know.
It was Wisconsin or
that was just a fan writing in.
Yeah, no, but it's a real company.
Yeah, real company, but not like hyped company.
Well,
but,
soon to be hyped.
Soon to be hyped. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's look at this.
By the mid-2000s, McKinney, a conservation advocate, was looking for a ranch to preserve when he heard about an available 1,000-acre ranch that had been owned by a single family for years.
Wow.
By sheer coincidence, McKinney, an avid fisherman, had caught a
What?
1,119-pound marlin. So I have to correct this. So the ranch was 1,119 acres. And by coincidence, he had caught a 1,119-pound marlin in a fishing tournament a few years earlier. He took the parallel as a sign and bought the property.
What's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
I've never been big into that world.
No?
I don't think I've actually ever.
I've caught a 150-pound halibut in Alaska.
There we go.
And I did it when I was a kid. It weighed more than me at the time.
Wow.
It was the biggest boost to my ego of all time. I conquered an animal that was bigger than me.
Every person should do that
insane.
at least once.
For sure.
I got to do that.
1,000-pound marlin. That is a huge, huge fish. So the ranch hadn't been touched in years. McKinney said he relished the opportunity to dig in. After tackling the ranch infrastructure, he turned to the main house, originally built in the 1950s. Many windows didn't close. It was not clear where the front door was located. He took the roughly 4,240-foot square house down to the studs and rebuilt it. One by one, he rebuilt the other outbuildings, he said, including the circa 1930s cottage and a horse barn, which is now a party barn.
There we go.
Let's go. A skilled woodworker. He also added a 5,200.
He's a skilled woodworker?
He's just building his own. This is
legend.
This is like the dream.
Well, so
right?
the interesting thing here, he bought this property when. So he bought the property in the mid 2000s. Yeah. Was it 2014 or the mid 2000s?
Oh, I guess he started working on the
remodel.
The remodel, yeah.
So he's $45 million into this property, selling it for 50, but he bought it in the mid 2000s. Yeah. So on paper,
probably didn't
not the best
S&P.
Return, but
he
the memories are probably priceless.
Fantastic time with it.
Returns on.
He also has a home in the
family
Bahamas.
Memories.
He is selling. So he and his partner have more time and resources to devote to philanthropy. We can't. We wait until. Why wait until we kick off and then have our estate dole it out, he said. Let's participate now. That's great.
Chad.
The market for prime ranches is strong thanks to liquidity among other high net worth buyers. Probably those AI researchers, unironically. There's a lot of people hedging in land. Yeah. If you're worried about the top signals, buy some land.
Buy a ranch.
Anyway. Get on Numeral too, numeralhq.com. Sales tax on autopilot. Spend less than 5 minutes per month on sales tax compliance. So there's another story in the mansion
compliance platform of John Coogan.
It is. I use it. There's another tech person who has a $50 million home, or just slightly under 49.5 million. This is an 8,000 square foot, 9-bedroom home with a tennis court and a pool. And you're gonna love this. I don't think you read this yet.
Not yet.
Okay, I'm gonna blow your mind. So, a circa 1930s estate, just a few houses from the Playboy Mansion in Los Angeles, is coming on the market for $49.5 million. The roughly 8,000 square foot, 9-bedroom estate was the longtime home of the late inventor Ronald Katz and his wife Madeline Katz. Ronald was best known for a series of patents that revolutionized automated customer service and telephones, and for making breakthroughs in credit card technology.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, sort of like AI agents for CX?
Exactly.
Sort of like, a vintage version of Finn?
Yes, yes. I'm very excited to be hanging out with Owen in a few years. Hopefully he's patented Fin.ai, the number one AI agent for customer service, number one in performance benchmarks, number one in competitive bake-offs, number one ranking on G2. But yes, so this guy has a whole Wikipedia page that we can pull up. We were looking for Ronald Katz. I think I have it in here somewhere. Let me see. They got so much stuff here.
Ronald.
Today. We're not getting through any of this. Where is it? Ronald Katz. Okay, Ronald Katz, yes. So his inventions are primarily in the field of automated call center technology. He has more than 50 patents covering his innovations. Patents, I know so many people who have like generational wealth from patents. It's crazy. And it just seems like it's something that just doesn't exist in our generation.
Kind of a lost art.
It's a lost art. Toll-free numbers.
We don't know how to patent in this country anymore.
We don't know how to patent. It's completely a lost art. Actually, the person who bought my first company was a patent guy. He went to college and studied like chemical engineering and built a bunch of patents for like lubricating petroleum as it flows through oil pipelines. And he came up with some chemistry.
It is so funny.
Patented it. And then he was like,
tech,
in college I was getting like $100K a month from licensing my patents or something like that. Like sick.
Yeah. There was a time when it seemed like the play was to develop technology, patent it, and license it out to companies. And then now if an entrepreneur comes to you with an idea.
It's a bad signal.
And they say, like I'm working on patents. It almost always is a huge bear signal.
Yeah.
It's like,
it is such a lost art. We don't
develop something and then capitalize on it yourself.
Yeah.
Because it is like that you can definitely, if you get it right, you can make a lot more money from delivering the technology or whatever it is via your own product and capturing that incremental margin. But
it's interesting because you'd think that the passive income bros would be super into patents, right? They'd be like, just become the world expert in a certain field, get a PhD in it, spend 10 years researching the frontier, and then develop an innovation, patent it, and then just cash flow free, lifestyle forever.
I do have one friend that had something like this where he developed this supplement and effectively licensed it to a company and has just been getting millions of dollars a year for coming up on like 15 years.
Did I tell you I have a patent?
A big patent guy. Maybe it's not a lost
patent.
art.
I don't make any cash flow off of it though. But I have a patent for breakers. The capsule. You can hear that. I don't even have the IEM thing. I can hear you. I have a patent on the capsule pouch, the capsule nicotine pouch.
It's fantastic innovation.
Invented. John Coogan, the inventor. I love it.
Mr.
Anyway,
Marlboro.
Not quite the portfolio of Ronald Katz. I'll take you through a little bit of his history. It's interesting. So, born 1936, in 1961, he co-founds Telecredit with Robert Goldman. It was the first company to enable merchants to verify consumer checks over the phone using an automated system without the assistance of a live operator. So this is 61, like totally pre-internet. Someone says, I'm going to write you a check. How do you verify that they have it? You have to call the company and say, do they have money in their bank account?
It's an agentic workflow.
It's an agentic. It literally is, because it cut out the live operator. That was the telephone operator. It's actually an agentic workflow. You're 100% right. I know you're joking, but it's true. And so in 1988, he forms a partnership with Amex to provide call processing services. That partnership later became First Data Corporation. And so he founded Ronald Katz Technology Licensing. And I feel
Great
First
name.
Data, isn't First Data huge? First Data is the layer below Stripe, right? I'm pretty sure. But
there's a layer below Stripe?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Stripe uses First Data for acquisition of credit cards, and I'm pretty sure it's the first processor of Visa and MasterCard. And so I don't know if they use, that might be misinformation. I don't know if Stripe uses First Data still, but I remember that there is a lower level below Stripe, and First Data was one of those. But Ronald Katz, where was this founded? Yeah, Nebraska. So Katz gets in there anyway. He also had the patent portfolio that for companies using automated call centers. Over 150 companies have taken a license to patents. The technology licensing company that he has earned approximately $1 billion in license fees, such as suing accused infringers who take a license. He also founded Telebuyer LLC, a privately held company that commercializes inventions he made relating to electronic commerce and network-based monitoring systems. In the early 90s, Katz developed a computer-controlled video system for monitoring remote locations and an advanced scheduling and routing system for telephone and video communications. Katz leveraged his knowledge and work in these areas to create an electronic commerce system to help businesses reach customers in remote locations.
I love all these words.
B2B SaaS founder. Absolutely insane. It's wild.
SaaS
so anyway, his house is on the market. It was built around the same time as the Playboy Mansion. The home resembles an English country house with tennis court and pool. It sits on roughly 1.5 acres in Holmby Hills, overlooking the Los Angeles Country Club on Mapleton Drive, one of LA's most storied streets. It's also adjacent to Spelling Mansion. You know Spelling Manor? Spelling Manor. Have you ever heard of this? Aaron Spelling, he was a big TV guy. And he built the largest home in Los Angeles, something like $100 million. It had a dedicated room for present wrapping, because you're going to wrap so many presents at that level. There are levels to this, for sure. Actually, when I moved into one of my first apartments, I got when we started making money young, I moved into it was like a studio apartment. It was nice, but it had no walls or anything, because it's open floor plan, because it's just studio and I'm just one guy, and I had there was room for a washer dryer, but I didn't have a washer dryer because we send out the.
You made it a present room?
I made it a present wrapping station, and I put a little table there, and you could work from it, but it was in the bathroom, and I was this is my version of a present wrapping room.
Spelling.
Yeah, it's I'm aesthetically living in Spelling Manor. So the Katzes spent years renovating the estate before moving. Normal story here. The couple filled the home with art and collectibles from around the world. The game room includes antique billboards, billiards table, and vintage arcade games. Also on display was Madeline's collection of pigs, stuffed animals, ornaments, sculptures, and paintings. It started with just a few pigs and grew to become her thing. To friends and family kept adding to the trope. The family plans to auction much of the home's contents. Have you heard about this? What's it called? It's like the elephant problem or the giraffe problem. There's a name for it where you make golden retrievers your thing, and then everyone's like, oh, what should we get you? Oh, you like pigs. And then it snowballs, and then everyone gets you so many that over 20 or 30 years, you develop like this massive collection of trinkets.
For you, it might be horse accessories. I got you those horse electrolytes.
Oh, yeah.
You can get just more and more supplements.
You're not the first person to get me horse stuff. I told you David used to get me mane and tail, the horse shampoo. Just as a joke, because I'm built like a horse, I guess. He thought it was very funny. He loved it.
That's great.
So yeah, maybe at the beginning of something.
Mane and tail.
Well,
by the way,
Truman
great
Sachs
new cut.
is really into the
cut.
horsepower metaphor. You know, he's like obsessed with horses and stuff. You know, everyone's got to have a brand. Anyway, what were we saying?
Oh, I said nice new haircut.
Oh yeah, thank you.
A horse could never. A horse could never.
Horse could never. The horse hair is strong. It was breaking the scissors. We broke multiple pairs, but we did get it cut. It's thick hair over here. But you know who else has like what's it called? It's like the grandma elephant problem or whatever. This woman who has this house has like an insane collection of pigs because she started collecting pigs. Everyone gave her pig stuff. And somebody said that Peter Thiel is the same thing with Tolkien. Where he named a few companies after Tolkien, and now everyone's like, everything you do must be Tolkien referenced. Like, if you are at all involved or whatever, like, I'm getting you another copy of Tolkien, and like, you know, this person was kind of commenting, like, you know, like, he might not watch the movie every night, you know? He might just be like generally a fan of that, and then also a fan of
that
other
whole
things.
World. Yeah.
You
can be a fan of multiple things.
But people tend to collapse the meme around you down to just like, oh, you're not just into Tolkien and other things. You're like the premier collector of Tolkien stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well,
anyway,
in other news,
stuff.
we have a post from brother Reggie James, has been on the show before. He says, I need TBPN to bring back Cougar Night at the Rosewood.
Hey, has it gone anywhere? Someone needs, if you're in Silicon Valley, go to the Rosewood and report.
We gotta ask Prank for exits.
No, he might be aware.
He gives some good coverage on.
Yeah,
on
he might be
Cougar
aware.
Night. But when we were at the Rosewood for staying there the night before YC Demo Day, you remember overhearing this like the most. There was a man and a woman like a table away from us having the most deranged conversation, the most Rosewood coded conversation of all time, where I think she was divorced or going through divorce, talking about like loudly breaking down their entire financial situation and being like, basically like, I'm good because we have Carrie in this fund that's definitely gonna hit in the next.
Never have I wanted Clearview AI more. Are you familiar with Clearview AI?
Oh, like the software to identify.
Yeah, you take a picture of someone and it scans the internet and it tells you immediately who they are. And it's like very controversial. And people are like, oh, this is like, you know, total like surveillance state stuff. But I would have loved to know what VC she was talking about because it was an absolute meltdown. There was other stuff. She was like, oh yeah, I've been checking our credit card and we're just seeing like deranged charges.
He's hitting Nobu
like every night
in every city.
So
absolutely wild. Well, Ryan has a good story here responding to Reggie's post. It says, one time in 2012, my co-founder and I crashed and burned so hard in a pitch on Sandhill, the partners rapped with, look, it's Cougar Night. You guys would actually do pretty well there. So that's the beauty of Sandhill Road. You could crash and burn.
I don't
even
get this. I don't get this post. Like, why would they do well if they're...
Well, like maybe like they're just
crashed and burned. Oh! Like the company has crashed and burned, or something.
No, they didn't do well on the pitch.
Okay, so he's like, maybe you can marry rich.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. Okay, got it. That's hilarious.
Couple of studs head over to the Rosewood.
Anyway, underrated strategy. Go to the Rosewood. Talk to the Cougars. Sell them your product. If you're an SDR. Yeah. Just go and pull out ADIO, custom relationship magic, Addio is the
Bringing
AI native
Addio,
CRM.
having Addio on deck for Cougar Night is
Cougar Night?
crazy alpha.
Do you keep the Cougars in the CRM or no?
But they're potential like leads, right?
Yeah, for sure. If you're selling to VC and there's a Cougar there who's maybe you could sell SaaS to that VC and it would re-inspire him to grind harder and save the relationship.
Save the relationship.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
Anything can happen.
Nothing like the joy of implementing a new B2B SaaS product in your workflow, in your everyday workflow. If you do that, that could just reinvigorate your entire life.
Yeah, you're just at Cougar Night.
Yeah.
Just can't stop talking to the Cougars about agentic workflows
Yeah.
for saving your marriage.
No, you're just like, why would I want to go on a bender and go to Nobu when I could be, grinding? I've been reinvigorated.
Many people are saying that.
Well, we talked about the top signals. Whether you're long, whether you're short, you make your own decision. You do your own research. Then go express it on public.com. Investing for those that take it seriously. Multi-asset investing, industry-leading yields, trusted by millions. Let's talk about the VW bus. We got to talk about
Dylan
the VW
Parker
bus.
from Moment yesterday talking about his fixed. He raised a Series B for his fixed income platform, and he mentioned that they power Public's fixed income products.
I didn't know that.
So, very cool.
Let's talk about the VW bus. So the electric bus. The Wall Street Journal claims that it is a failure. We're going to figure it out. How Volkswagen's electric bus went from American flagship to flop. The German company's hyped reboot of its iconic vintage van has been stunted by a luxury price tag. Trump's trade war and an embarrassing recall. And so this Wall Street Journal article goes through the kind of story of the ID Buzz, the new
Buzz.
Crazy name. We should talk about so much here. I mean, first off is I do not understand why a change in the powertrain requires a new brand name or new sub-brand name for a product. It should be like
I
a
think
trim
it
level,
shows.
in my
it
opinion.
shows lack of conviction.
Yeah. BMW's doing this with the i4 instead of the 535i. The i5 is going to be the electric one, and it just is more confusing.
We know somebody that if BMW were to touch the M series, they would make Jan 6 look like a children's birthday party.
They'd be very upset about that. But so it was always confusing. Why didn't they just bring it back as the bus, and now you can get it with an electric powertrain? But then also it's this fun, kitschy, nostalgic vehicle. And what was the price tag on this thing? It was $70,000 or something like that. It was so much money. Yes. So even before the recall, the luxury sticker price of the ID Buzz, which starts at about $60,000, kept a break on sales as consumers pivoted to more affordable wheels. In the U.S., where the vehicle became available toward the end of last year, just over 3,000 had been shipped to dealers by the end of March. And then there was a slowdown in EV sales. The tax credits are going away, and President Trump's tariffs have caught automakers off guard. Very, very rough. So in Dallas, European car enthusiast and parts supplier Autry McVicker said he was dead set on getting the Buzz until his dealer told him that the Palmetto yellow and white version he had his eye on would cost around $72,000, far more than he expected. Yeah, this feels like, premium SUV territory. So 45K, 50K maybe, 55K, 72 feels crazy for this. And it seemed like, I don't know why they couldn't get the price down. Do you think it's something to do with just the actual manufacturing complexities of electric vehicles? Because Elon is able to sell a car that's similarly capable, although the Model Y has way more range and features. And so it's hard to go up against if you're comparing the Buzz to the Model Y in a spreadsheet, you're going to get, okay, Buzz is cool and different looking, but am I really willing to sacrifice so many features and pay twice as much?
Yeah, it is interesting. I'm seeing a original 1973 Volkswagen bus.
Yeah,
it's for sale for $65,000. It's got 85,000 miles on it. So it's seen a lot, but it's possible that who knows what went into kind of pricing it, but they might have said, hey, we're making this bus for that category that wants just kind of like a fun leisure vehicle.
Yep.
It's not super functional. You're not going to drive it to the snow. You're maybe driving it around town, going to the beach, things like that. But it doesn't feel like it just doesn't look like a car that somebody's going to daily.
Yeah.
And that feels like a huge problem. If it's $65K, the average American might, I don't know, I probably shouldn't say the average American, but middle class family might say, hey, let's get the Volkswagen bus as our daily family car. But it doesn't, it just looks kind of funky and loud, and it
just sticks out. I mean, so in this article they say that the ID Buzz in Germany, like the spokesman said that it was designed to be a halo car, like a halo product, which is, it sounds funny when you compare it to like the Audi R8, of course, but they said the goal is to bring drivers to showrooms, and they're not really planning to sell in great numbers. So you're like, oh, that ID Buzz just does look different. When I go to get my next car, I'm just sick of having like the same plain white SUV that looks like everything else. But then you go in and you're like, wait, how much is it? And is it really that much better than features against the VW Atlas, I guess is their full size SUV. And so you walk out of there with an Atlas, which is probably around 55, 60, I guess. I actually don't know where.
So you can get an Audi Q8, which feels much more like a premium product for the same price. Yeah. So, and it's just a lot more functional. And
how much did that Cullinan sell for on Cars and Bids? That was like, it had like 200,000 miles. Did you see this?
The one that we were recommending people get as like a call booth for their office.
Wait, we were recommending that? I don't remember that.
Probably. I mean, we broadly were recommending picking up an old Continental GT instead of a phone booth.
Yeah. Okay. So a Rolls-Royce Cullinan Black Badge. 2020, so it's only 5 years old, sold for $170,000, just barely twice the price of the ID Buzz, but it has 114,000 miles on it. Can you imagine putting 114,000 miles on a Rolls-Royce Cullinan in 5 years?
I can. I would love to.
I would love to. I mean, that's so many miles. But people were debating this, saying like, okay, yeah, if you're putting that many miles, like it has to be highway miles, so they're not hard miles. Like it's probably fine. Like and Rolls-Royce, has a bad reputation as being like, in the shop all the time. But if it made it this far, like maybe it'll make it another 100,000 miles, and it like actually stays in good condition. So maybe it was the steal of a century at 170. Who knows? Could have been bombing around in a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Anything else on the VW bus thing? I still think I just think it is hard that they priced it so high. Maybe the opportunity is more like Tesla just needs more different trim levels, but then needs to bring the manufacturing prowess to deliver things at more affordable prices. Because like, how different is the world if the Cybertruck is cheaper? Does it even need to be? Should it stay up there and be this halo car?
Yeah. Yeah, the interesting thing with the bus,
as a halo car
as somebody
right
who lives, I live in Malibu.
Yeah.
I bought a Mercedes Metris because
Yeah.
I wanted like a family van, something I could drive around surfing with, etc.
Yeah.
And I have zero interest in the Volkswagen electric bus, and that's an issue.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if I was thinking
have a
about a
golf
car,
cart
if
that
I
kinda
wanted like
substitutes.
if I wanted a surf, like a car just to like trash and take to the beach and take surfing, you can get a Raptor for like 70.
Raptor's such a funny.
So it's like
choice.
obviously very different, but if you're a
Yeah.
dad that wants like
Yeah.
a kind of a car you can like beat up and do a lot of things in and throw the
Yeah.
kids in, do you want to drive this like novelty VW that's going to depreciate like
don't know.
50% in a year, or get a Raptor?
I think it can be a very cute mom car, and it can definitely, like, if you look at Volkswagen's
But does a
current
mom really
SUV
want
lineup,
do they really want the buzz over like a Q7?
No, but isn't Audi a Volkswagen product too?
Yeah.
So there's totally a flow where you go in for the buzz thinking like, maybe I'll get the quirky thing, and then you walk out with a Q7, or you walk out with an Atlas, which is basically a Q7 too. Or you upgrade, you get an Urus, which is a Q8.
Cayenne Turbo GT.
Is that a Volkswagen product too?
Yeah, Porsche's Volkswagen.
At least the Cayenne GT looks different, But part of the reason that the VW bus is like so legendary is like it was an icon, and they spent a lot of time building that brand. They ran a lot of out-of-home advertising. They probably would have loved AdQuick back in the 60s when they were pushing the buzz.
I mean, they would have killed for AdQuick back then.
Out-of-home advertising made easy and measurable. Say goodbye to the headaches of out-of-home advertising. Only AdQuick combines technology, out-of-home expertise, and data to enable efficient, seamless ad buying across the globe. And let me also tell you about Wander. If you're wandering around with your ID Buzz or your car, summer,
you can. It's 12:39 p.m. Pacific. You can book a Wander today with inspiring views.
Yeah,
5-star amenities, and you can
hotel graded amenities,
of course.
Dreamy beds, top tier cleaning, and 24/7 concierge service. It's a vacation home, but better, folks. Go get on a Wander. And we have our guest in the studio. What are we doing, Jordy? Deep dive into nootropics?
A bunch of things. So
let's bring him
Farb, let's bring him in.
Welcome to the stream. How you
doing?
doing?
There he is. It's great to have you in the temple.
What's the latest?
What's going on?
I hope you don't mind if I do a shot before we start.
Do it. What are you
Brian
drinking?
Johnson olive oil.
Oh, Brian Johnson.
Olive oil shots.
Okay.
There we go.
Is this a
performance?
That's insane. I love it.
How does it taste?
Yeah, give us a taste review.
It's spicy as olive oils go. It's spicy, but it's super tasty.
Spicy. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this a short-term performance enhancer? Like you're on the show for 20 minutes right now. Are you going to get a boost for the next 20 minutes, or is this more like you do it daily and then it improves your performance?
It's less of like a performance enhancer, more like a daily thing to do, just to get really good fats in. But I also heard that you guys are really sweet guys, so I'm just going to pop on a glucose monitor here.
Okay.
You're
really maxing the
just to find out if
I told you
my blood sugar or not.
Take us through the rest of the stack.
Yeah,
what else are you doing?
Some context on this. Farb's a buddy. He's also here in LA with us. Investor, but the real reason I wanted to have you on is because I feel like you have consistently been maybe 2 years ahead of me on various different types of health, biohacking experiments. And I've always felt like I was somewhat ahead. Like in 2020,
You're like 20 years ahead of normies still.
I had
He's 2 years ahead of you.
Farb, you would have loved this. I had a cold plunge just in my bedroom.
In college?
This is 2020.
Okay.
A year and a half.
Dorm room. Because didn't you tell me the dorms, it's like 6 dudes in one unit or something?
UCSB will have like 15 guys in a house. Not the ideal biohacking environment.
Imagine you're just
but I would
on during sex, they say.
Glucose monitor stays on for sure.
But anyways, you've impressed me with how at the frontier you are. So I wanted to have you on to talk about everything. Get the update on how you're thinking about GLP-1s, peptides. We can talk about a bunch of other things. But why don't you give a quick intro yourself, and then we should start with like your stack, what you're running today, and then we can get into some subtopics.
Cool.
Great. Farbood Nivi, sort of health nut, entrepreneur, investor. Have a new project that we're just getting off the ground right now. It's called Protocols. And hopefully we'll have some big news to share on that in a few weeks. So I guess that's my intro.
What's the stack?
Well, let's start with what you're running today.
Or what do you think you do that has like a power law outcome on your health? Because like sleep, diet, exercise seem like the most important, and then you get down into like I'm taking the 7th type of magnesium tonight, and it's like.
Or Farb is doing like gene therapy and stuff like that.
So walk me through what's important and then what's more experimental.
I've done like tons of experimental stuff. I've been doing blood work for like well over a decade. I got follistatin gene therapy. I have genetically modified plasmids in my shoulder here.
No way.
They're probably getting near the end of their lives because they last a year or two. And I mean, the crazy thing is, like, despite being a health nut, I kind of found myself at the end of last year, beginning of this year, sort of overweight, depressed, and pre-diabetic. And I'm 48 now, so these things creep up on you. You can't do what you did 20 years ago and get the same thing 20 years later. And so I kind of sat back to figure out, like, what's wrong with my stack, right? What's wrong with my routine? And really what it came down to is that I don't really have a routine. And I'm sort of making it up every day. I think Shane Parrish was on Chris Williamson and had this great point. It's like a person with a routine will outperform a person who is negotiating with themselves every day. And I'm like, that hit me really hard. I'm like, oh, wow, we're doing self-negotiation every day. We're like reinventing what it is to be a human being on a daily basis. What do I eat? Should I exercise? And I'm like, I'm really bad at routines. So that was actually the problem that I set out to solve. And in doing that, I actually ended up stopping taking TRT. So I don't take testosterone anymore. I stopped taking.
How was coming off that? By the way,
that's super interesting because I feel like the narrative is like once you're on it, you can never get off of it because your body stops producing it naturally, and you're either on it forever or you should never touch it. That's like the common narrative.
This was like another problem with my routine. I would take TRT, I would do it for a month or two, and then I'd stop. So if you do it super consistently, it takes a while for, the boys downstairs to turn off.
Okay.
So like you can do it for a month or two and stop and they'll come back. And so I did a ton of blood tests actually. And my most recent one, which I just did with Function, I did a huge Function panel. And my testosterone's like 600, 700. My free testosterone's above 100. It's pretty good.
That's great. Yeah. That's
impressive.
Cool.
So yeah, I actually stopped doing peptides as well, and we can kind of get into a little bit of that. I've done peptides for probably 7-8 years, and so my stack right now.
And how are you getting them 7 years ago? I'm curious.
Yeah,
was it
like
Chinese
up and down.
And also just like I feel like the only peptide that people know broadly is like glucagon-like peptide, like GLP-1, and that's generally not seen as a peptide for guys on TRT who are clearly going to the gym. It's more for like, serious weight loss. And so I'm curious about like what peptides even like drew your eye or were interesting, or like what was even the goal with those?
Yeah, I mean, I like to experiment. So, 7-8 years ago, I'm like, let's see what these peptides are about.
Sure.
And peptides are just like short strings of amino acids. Like a protein is a long string of amino acid. A peptide is a short string. And they're used a lot in signaling in your body. So you can take one peptide that tells your body to make more human growth hormone. And that's kind of interesting because
is that BPC? Is that BPC 157?
Yeah, BPC 157 is different. Okay. BPC 157 is like this sort of broad-ranging peptide. You actually make it in your gut. And if you just give yourself a lot more, it seems to help with healing in general.
Yeah. Do you think
but other ones increase growth hormone, other ones improve deep sleep. And if you're on Twitter at all, you're seeing a massive proliferation of these sites selling it. And to your question about like, how was I getting it? In the years that I've done peptides, you could get it from a doctor. You couldn't get it from a doctor. You could get it from a doctor.
Yeah.
It's kind of in limbo now. And all these sites, they sell it for research purposes. And
which you were actually using for research purposes.
Yeah, I guess you were kind of researching.
Yeah, I'm using it for research purposes, yeah. But it's not for human consumption. The GLPs, which are another type of peptide, are the ones that you get like Mounjaro, Ozempic.
Yeah.
And that world's really getting crazy too, because we know the brand name Ozempic, but like Ozempic is old news. The current one is tirzepatide.
Yeah, that's right.
And then retatrutide is coming next. And there's 2 or 3 more after that.
Do you think those will break into kind of like athletic men who are maybe sitting at like 13% body fat, or is it like a microdose, or do you think it will remain as just like a powerful tool for weight loss?
Well, yeah, the thing that's been interesting is all the reporting around GLP-1s or tirzepatide helping with like willpower broadly.
Sure.
So imagine just having 20% extra willpower.
But then there's a counter example of like it makes you less risk on, and so Will Menitis has that post that's like, what is the effect of capital allocators broadly being on GLP-1s? Like, will we be a less risk on?
They're not going turbo long. They're just
will we have less volatility? Maybe that's
how we save the T-bill. It's like people are just like, yeah, I'm fine to just earn 2%.
Wait, there's a bill in the House for testosterone. What are you talking about?
I'd love to have one. I'd love to see it.
We should get one in there.
Testosterone.
Yeah. I'm investing in T-bills. I'm taking the majority of my bills and paying T.
People microdose these things.
Sure.
And they seem to have like a a lot more than just weight loss effect. Blood sugar regulation. They seem to be reducing cancer in a bunch of studies. So there's even some people just microdose them. Like sometimes when I was doing it, I was taking a really small dose, 1/5 to 1/10 of what the even starting dose is.
Do you feel like a plateau though? Because it feels like, I remember the first day in college, I tried caffeine. I had coffee. I actually didn't have caffeine until college. And it was like amazing. And I've had that experience with a lot of things. And now it's like, okay, I kind of just need a bunch of caffeine to get back to baseline. And I imagine that you maybe experienced that with your journey on peptides and testosterone. But then is it like once you get to the plateau, you pull it out and then kind of reset the baseline? How do you think about that?
I used to think nonstop about that and do it all the time, and I kind of don't anymore.
Sure.
Now I have a routine that I stick to.
Okay.
It's like light first thing in the morning, hugely important.
Like on your phone, right? Just max
just
the
like
brightness out.
put it on blue light and hold it there.
VR headset, AI slop in the morning.
That's hugely important. It actually sets your bedtime when you get light in your eyes in the morning outside.
Okay. Huh.
It sets your bedtime like 16 hours later.
Wait, and what counts for getting light? Like I walk to my car in the morning at 5:30. Does that count? I'm outside for a minute and then I'm getting light when I'm looking at the sunrise, I guess.
Yep, that's the light. But maybe get 3 to 5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes. So I should kind of walk around the block or something a little
That's
bit.
right.
Well, this morning I got up you got to my house. We were driving into the office, and I was running like 5 minutes behind. So you kind of had 5 minutes just putzing around out there.
I did.
So that was for your health, John.
Thank you.
You did it. Whether or not you do it, that's helping you. That's helping your health.
Yeah.
And then I usually, do the morning stuff. Pound a lot of water in the morning. I learned this from a buddy of mine, Jack Dreyfus, who has this sort of morning ritual about not using his phone and chugging water, and those are actually sort of life-changing. You don't want to blast social media into your eyes in the first hour. It really changes your neurology if you don't. Then gym, getting vitamin D walks outside, a whole list of supplements
what
that I
take. What do you
take.
like in terms of gym?
What do I do for gym? I do like 15 minutes every other day.
Okay. Wow. That seems like short.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm recovery maxing.
Okay, recovery maxing. Interesting.
I mean, all your gains come in
lifting,
recovery.
Yeah. So how have you noticed since I'm assuming
I'm
assuming you went through a period where you're just like bro split.
You seem like you've done CrossFit.
Back.
I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out.
No, I'm like the last guy you'll see doing CrossFit. Yeah.
Okay, but have you ever done it?
No.
Never.
But were you ever running a bro split like chest back legs, rest on Sunday? Did you ever do that?
I'm like light version of that now. Like to me, the thing I learned is that like a little bit of a bunch of things actually makes the biggest difference.
Interesting. Ensemble.
And so like having a routine where you kind of do these things regularly, that actually makes a bigger difference than going like crazy on one thing, which kind of puts your health lopsided. And that's actually I was mentioning protocols earlier. It's a little app we've been building that kind of makes all this easy. We call it health maxing with friends. So you can basically do these little routines. You can build a stack for yourself, and then you kind of do it with friends. They do them too. You see their faces appear as they get them done throughout the day. And that has honestly made the biggest literal difference in my health of anything I've ever done. Not even close.
That makes sense. Talk about microplastics in glass. I know you've been diving into this. That study came out. Everybody was like, wait, this feels like some propaganda from Big Plastic that says, yeah, even your glass water has plastic.
Big plastic
well, that was
propaganda.
there was a talk at Hereticon about that. Remember, it was like, how would you get people to use more glass or something?
That was more of an
plastic.
Exercise.
It was a mental exercise about how to get people to use more plastic, and it was like one of the ideas that people threw out was like make glass sound bad.
Yeah,
and like
Dangerous.
here we are. Somebody ran the.
Yeah, here we are. I mean,
what is the actual data?
Well, the study was done by I think a French organization, so we don't know if it's just EU propaganda or actual science. So, we have to put it to the test. So basically, they found there's more plastic in glass bottles than in plastic bottles. And the culprit is like the cap at the top of the bottles. They have like a little plastic inside the cap of a glass
Sure.
bottle. And it seems like that's the plastic that's getting into it. So I'm
Interesting.
actually replicating the study. I found a local lab that will do
cool.
the analysis. I'm going to get a bunch of different waters and just send it in and see what the results are.
Do you know how big the study was in France? Because
It
I
was
feel like
decent size. I mean, it was like a pretty well done study.
I feel like the whole difficulty is like, do you test like what's the variability? How do you get the actual size? Are you testing like hundreds of water bottles, thousands, or like
and
five?
then the other thing is like the big thing with plastic, and people don't say it as much, but it's kind of started there. Is like don't leave your plastic bottle in the car,
Sure.
because when it gets hot, it leaches.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I don't know if they're comparing it, to a leached plastic bottle versus a glass one that's not going to.
Another one. What are you doing around cholesterol right now? I know you were running an experiment there a while back.
Yeah, this was actually kind of an accidental experiment. I take most of Brian Johnson's stack just because it's like everything I want and it's easy and I trust him. So one of the things he has is his red yeast rice. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just taking the red yeast rice. And then I just sort of happened to do a blood panel before and after, and my cholesterol has always been pretty high, like including some of like the bad ones, as they say. And all of a sudden, everything just went green, and I have this like peak cholesterol panel. And so I had to kind of like look back through my app and chat with our little AI and figure out what happened. And basically, it was just like immediately, like, it was the red yeast rice, because red yeast rice is basically a statin. So monocolin K is one of the statins, and that's what red yeast rice has in it. So I was kind of basically taking a low dose statin for a while. It was kind of crazy. 6 weeks.
So is that something you'll cycle going forward, or just effectively do consistently?
Probably take consistently. Some people, I pair it with like a good dose of CoQ10, because some people on statins or red yeast rice, they experience like some muscle soreness. And it seems like taking a good amount of CoQ10 basically takes that away, which for me it does.
Makes sense. How are you? Have you been playing around with hyperbaric oxygen chambers at all? I'm sort of anticipating that is the next version of the home sauna or the home ice, cold plunge. It feels like we're maybe a couple years out from more commercial or more consumer-friendly versions of those products, because they're showing tremendous benefits. But if you actually look at buying one, it's like this $30,000 machine that looks like it's out of a hospital, and it looks really kind of scary. But I want to be doing it consistently, and I don't really have time to do it outside of
very mixed branding too. Like I the first time I heard about a hyperbaric, like sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber, it was Michael Jackson, and then
really? Wow. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's like the first time it entered my mind as like something that you could do. Although extremely valuable for scuba divers, because if you get the bends, like you need to be in a hyperbaric chamber to recompress, and so it's like a life-saving technology for in the scuba diving world. But then it was like used as like this odd crazy health hack. But then Brian Johnson's been talking about it a lot. So yeah, what's your take on the hyperbaric chambers?
I'm actually in the process of finding one to purchase and put here in the office, and it seems like it's basically one of the best things you can do for longevity and health. And the thing is, you need to get up to about 2 atmospheres. So they have ones that are like 1.3 atmospheres of pressure, 1.4, some are above 2. But it seems like 2 is the spot that kind of gives you the most benefits. It's sort of the sweet spot. I mean, literally improving your DNA, increasing your telomere length. I think Brian Johnson said it was the best skin treatment he's ever done, and the guy does a lot of skin treatments. Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. It's going to get bigger and bigger. It's a little bit of a nuisance because you're in there for an hour to an hour and a half.
Doesn't he like work? I thought Brian Johnson was like doing emails in there or something.
Yeah, he has one that you can kind of sit upright in and get stuff done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like these more. I think the reason that saunas are so great is that it's passive. It doesn't take a lot of willpower to say, or sorry, willpower to say, oh, I'm going to go
here on TBPN.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of willpower to go and say, I'm going to go and sit in the sauna for 30 minutes, and it has tremendous benefits. And I think the same thing for the hyperbaric chamber. You can go in there, get some work done, read a book, listen to TBPN, etc.
Yeah, it's on 24 hours. Yeah. I mean, it's a wild time. We got some really crazy stuff coming down the pipeline. They think they have a shot that will lower your cholesterol for life in one shot.
What? That's crazy.
Another company the company that did my gene therapy is working on one that'll increase your IQ.
That's insane. Wow.
How much data do you personally need to run an experiment on yourself? Like the IQ one, it feels like, yeah, if you got 20 people that got some benefit,
you might be Faust maxing.
Yeah.
You're just down for Faustian bargains.
Yeah, always.
As long as it's not harmful, I'm generally okay with trying it to see what it does.
Sure. But how do you know?
Last question. Last question. I'm curious. What's your thinking around? I think I know the answer already, but the sort of like ancestral philosophy, sort of like consume things that existed hundreds of years ago versus something being made in a lab is not necessarily bad, and you should take advantage of science.
I think it's just not a great heuristic in general. It's like convenient and easy, but I don't think it's a great heuristic, right? Everything should stand up to having a good explanation for it. And neither of those are great explanations, is like, bowing to ancestral ways or to science. If you don't have a good explanation for why the thing works, then you should be kind of suspicious of it. And I don't think either of those are great explanations. You got to take things on their face. Circadian alignment it turns out that the bro scientists were right on a million things. We thought diabetes type 2 was literally incurable before the 2010s. Bro scientists always thought you could cure it with lifestyle and diet. Finally, in the 2010s, after 100 years of thinking it was incurable, we realized you can actually reverse type 2 diabetes. So in a lot of cases, the bro scientists are right.
Got to continue to bro down.
Trust the experts. Always
trust the experts.
The bro scientists.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to have you back on again when you have more news in a couple weeks. And let's
hang soon.
When you have more, when you're running your experiments, whether they're on yourself or water, hit us. We love breaking news. So great to see you.
Okay, great. Happy to. See you guys.
Have a good one. Bye.
See you soon. Cheers.
If you're looking to up your sleep game, head over to 8sleep.com.
That's right.
Pod 5 Ultra, the first fully immersive sleep system that works with any bed. Pod 5 actively adjusts your temperature, elevates your body, and plays integrated soundscapes to improve your sleep. Head over to 8sleep.com. We got Shaun Brank in the studio, the man who invented the wallet.
Invented e-commerce.
Live here. He invented e-commerce, he invented the wallet, and now he invented podcasting with us. Welcome to the stream. How you doing?
It's been too long.
Guys, I'm doing great. I heard the 8sleep ad.
Yeah.
I got 2 perfect scores in a row.
No way.
Yeah.
That is so hard to do.
yeah, dude. Last night I posted 100. I posted it on Twitter. So it makes a lot of sense that was the intro that I got.
How many 1-year-olds do you have at your house?
0. I have 0 kids.
I'm kind of playing with one hand or 2 hands tied behind my back here. But
yeah,
congratulations.
It's
a remix.
I went through about a year period where my lovely children were just sleeping perfectly.
I have an idea.
Every night. And
8sleep should make a sleeping bag for a 4-year-old that they can't get out of. Kind of a straitjacket. A padded room that's temperature controlled with a lock on the door so the kid can't get up.
So dark, but...
We're going to turn this, you know how there's like every show's like the manosphere content? We need to do the datasphere content. You're not a dad yet, so it won't really work. We'll need different guests for that. But we need to get really hardcore on the dad content. Anyway, let's talk about TikTok. TikTok's selling to a U.S. owner. To get ready, they're turning down the focus on Shops and pushing the ad product again. Shops has always lost money. I didn't know that. And without the parent co-funding it, no one wants to eat that loss. TikTok will be an ad platform again, at least for the rest of the year. Break that down for us. What does that mean? What are the implications?
Yeah. Have you guys ever bought anything from TikTok Shops?
No. I've never used TikTok.
Dude, I love that, John. You're a true patriot. But yeah, so TikTok Shops... I mean, if you talk to people inside of TikTok, like high up, they do not see Meta as a competitor. They don't want to compete with Meta. Like it's obviously like they both have short form video now. But like TikTok never really was a social app in the way that Instagram and Facebook really are.
I heard this morning. People are one of our younger friends was saying like the Gen Z, they don't DM each other on TikTok. They use Snapchat to talk and chat, and then they use TikTok as like a YouTube style content.
Yeah, so like if you talk to people at TikTok, they really want to go after the YouTubes of the world, and they really want to go after Amazon, right? Because Amazon is this big pot of money. It's 600 billion a year in e-commerce revenue that like Amazon's given up trying to grow, right? So we have Prime Day going right now. It's 4 days of Prime Day. They doubled the length year over year, and they said that it'll grow 20%. So each day is down like 40%. When you add that up, you get 20% growth. It's just pure value extraction for Amazon at this point. There's going to be more ads. Like they've signed up 100 million Prime members. That business can't really grow anymore. So there's this big pot of money that Walmart tries to attack. And
pronatalism might change that. I expect Amazon to start lobbying for subsidies for young families. I mean, to just like we just need to triple the population of the United States. And
we were laughing earlier about the fact that I believe Amazon makes more in net income than Tesla makes in revenue.
Like way more.
Way more. It's crazy.
There's levels on the Mag 7 chart.
Anyway, but it sounds like with TikTok going to US owner, like something's changing there. Break that down.
Yeah. So they spent probably 24 months and easily $30 billion trying to get people to use TikTok shops, right? Right now, the estimate is that like it's $1 billion a month in GMV. So a $12 billion GMV business. That could be high, it could be low, it changes. That's not very big. Like, Shopify's GMV in a quarter is probably double that, right? So Shopify probably does like $250 million in GMV. So they haven't been that successful getting people to actually shop repeatedly. And to get that $1 billion, they lit a bunch of money on fire with subsidies.
Wait, do you mean $250 billion?
$250 billion in GMV for Shopify, probably.
Sorry, that's what I meant. And we have Amazon at 600 billion, right? So like, TikTok is trying really hard. Their goal this year was to get to 20 billion in GMV, right? So to be like 1/10 of what Shopify's at, and when they launched for the first 12 months, it was aggressive subsidies. So they would come to brands like mine and they'd be like, hey, sell on our platform and we will give customers 50% off. And then we're like, well, I don't want to sell 50% off. They're like, no, we will fund it. We'll fund discounts. We'll fund free shipping. They made this aggressive push to try to get people to shop there, right? So there was just
and simultaneously there was this other company, Flip, that was doing the same thing. Is that the right name for it? They were just basically giving away products. It was basically a wealth transfer from LPs to venture capitalists to the American consumer.
Selling dollars for 90 cents
for a lot less than that.
For 50 cents apparently.
Yeah. So and Flip was the same thing. All of them are. I mean, Temu, Shein, everybody's coming after like this disposable income in America, right? So Flip's like, we're going to take a social, commerce attack on it. TikTok was the same thing. Temu is owned by a publicly traded company in China, right? That's worth like $200 billion. And they were losing, probably $100 million a month to try to get, user acquisition. All of them are coming after Amazon. So that strategy would probably continue to play out if Section 321 didn't close. I don't know if you guys covered that. You had Ryan Peterson on, but it used to be that you could ship, goods via Temu from China to the US, totally tax and duty free, right? So why is Temu cheaper than Old Navy or H&M or whatever else? They're paying zero taxes. So we closed that. Now Temu's revenue and their traffic has fallen 50% in like 60 days, right? They've taken their gas off of customer acquisition. Same thing's happening with TikTok. They have a really awesome app with a ton of users. And if they're forced to sell to the US, someone's just going to turn that into a cash cow, right? It's going to get bought by, it's probably going to be Walmart or, AppLovin is making a bid. Like all of these ad platforms are making a bid because there's a bunch of users there. And if you have users, you have attention, you could turn on the money printing machine, which is Google, which is Meta, right? So, it'll end up being more of a Meta competitor. They're going to abandon the strategy of going after Amazon and they will just start printing money like every good app platform should, like you guys do.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it was. I had a friend that at the time that the TikTok ban was being floated or the app was being removed from the App Store, I had a friend that was just absolutely printing on TikTok. He has a 9-figure e-commerce brand, And he was like, oh, I don't really want it to be banned because I'm making like, $2 million a month right now, and it's pretty good. But it clearly was just like fake and heavily subsidized and totally unsustainable.
Yeah, explain this interaction in the comments to that post. Ariel says they barely co-fund anything anymore. Hard disagree with this take. And you said, but that's why they stopped co-funding things. Is that talking about TikTok's parent ByteDance paying this, or TikTok co-funding promotions with brands?
Yeah, so they've been winding it down for probably the past 3 months, right? And I mean,
this is TikTok going to brands?
Yeah, so the co-funding is when you run TikTok shops to try to get new brands in there, to try to get your sales up. They are going to cover discounts, fees, and they will give the brand that money so that the discount passes to the customer. So TikTok, Amazon gets 15% of all transactions as fees. TikTok gets 6%, but they take that 6% and they give you 30% of your transaction back, right? That's that co-funding element. They started to slow that down drastically in January when they got banned, right? The writing was on the wall that they're not going to do this anymore, and they've been slowly bringing down co-funding. And then if you go on TikTok, there's a term called ad load. It's how many ads you get per post, right? So, on Instagram, it's like you have an ad load of 33%. One in three posts are going to be ads. TikTok got to 50% of all ads were monetized through either affiliate.
So it's natural post, ad, natural post, ad, post, ad, post, ad, post, ad.
And the ads are split between monetized via shops, which is like affiliate posts, and normal ads. They have turned that down drastically and made the ads way better. So traditional advertising, where I spend money to get people to come to my website, right? Like what Meta does, it's been crushing on TikTok ever since they made this change like 3 months ago. So the writing's on the wall. TikTok Shop will be drastically deprioritized, and the ads are going to start being awesome again.
What about the state of live shopping in the U.S.? Were you guys at Ridge? Like, did you have somebody that was live on TikTok all day long selling wallets? Did you ever go live?
Why do you think Shaun has that podcast mic?
No, we've tried it because Amazon pushed it pretty aggressively. Flip pushed it aggressively, and then TikTok pushed it aggressively. We've tried all that. It doesn't really work in America without the subsidies, right? Like, there's this flywheel on TikTok where you get 50 people to go live. They all start selling stuff. They push your product to the top. Then other affiliates want to come in and start selling it because it's a good selling product. But that only works when you heavily subsidize it, and that hurts your Walmart business or your Amazon business or your Whole Foods business, because nobody likes to be undercut. I've had a lot of friends who, I have a friend who got to $10 million a month on TikTok shops. But in the grand scheme of things, he has like $100 million a month wholesale business. So it's like, dude, it was cool. It was exciting. It was fast growing, and they made it profitable for brands, but it's all falling apart. I don't think Americans really want live shopping, and I don't think it's ever going to catch on.
What about so what do you think the future of platforms like Whatnot is? Is it focusing on these sort of like niche collectibles and auctions and things like that? Like, could it work in subcategories? Yeah,
dude. And, to give TikTok credit, they brought affiliates back, right? Affiliate was a bad word in 2021, right? If you were doing affiliate marketing, you were selling like the scammiest product on earth, or like porn or Viagra or something, right? And they made more young kids be okay with selling stuff on the internet. So they made affiliate cool again. And I think we will see more of that, but it is going to be more, niche. I think Whatnot's a great platform if you like Pokemon cards or if you like gaming. And you could see Twitch have more social comments built in, but it's not going to be the $100 billion GMV business that TikTok's trying to build it to. And in e-commerce,
and that it is in China, right? And Asia broadly.
Yeah, why does it work there and not here?
I don't know, man. I mean, customers in America are used to like infinite choice, right? The other thing is we have just really low e-commerce penetration compared to China, right? China's at like 40% of all transactions are happening online, and America struggles to crack 15. So
What's the downstream effect of like the ads getting better on TikTok? Does that mean like brands need to be investing more in like actually like, Super Bowl ad level creative? Is it doing some sort of viral stunt like the Cluely thing? Like, is it just algorithm hacking, AI slop? Like what do you think the meta will be in terms of like actually having an ad really perform on TikTok post sale to US owner?
Yeah. Well, I would start testing this right now, but what Meta has pushed, so Meta is like still the king of, performance advertising, right? 130 billion in ads run through that platform. And they spent the past year working on something called Andromeda, which is their new ad engine, right? And all it is they want high velocity of creative. They don't care if it looks awesome. They don't care if it's AI generated. They just want high variety, right? And they want you to feed the ad engine as much high variety content as possible. Really focus on short form video still, but like high production, UGC, AI, whatever you want to put in there. And then Andromeda just finds the best thing for the best person at the right time. Like they've really focused on making sure they can, like, their internal ad auction serves the best ad for the best person. Take whatever winners you have over there, because Meta's did the heavy lifting for you, and just run them on TikTok.
Are we completely past the era of like, it was the Harmon brothers that were doing those like really catchy, really high production value videos? I remember like the Dollar Shave Club launch video was kind of like the case study in this, where you could go get like 100 million impressions on one really crazy ad and then do retargeting based on how long people watched. Like, is that meta just completely dead? Are we no longer going to see like iconic ads for particular brands?
Yeah, so Harmon Brothers did great. There's a company called Sandwich Video. They did
great.
Sandwich
was another one that was really big in that.
Yeah, Raindrop is still doing it.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, there's a percentage of creative cost to ad spend, right? So if you're going to spend $1 million on a video, you have to spend at least $20 million promoting it, right? And it used to be that like the ad cost could be a third, right? When you're running TV ads, you'd spend a lot of money to make a really memorable thing. And the delivery was only 2/3 of the cost. The delivery now needs to be like at least 95% of the cost. And that just drives everything, the investment in creative down. So but is there some sort of like unquantifiable value, or in the short term, around like creating like what's called a Schelling point? So like we all know about like, the Eras tour for Taylor Swift. Like, it was such a big phenomenon that everyone's aware of that. Or like Barbenheimer, or like the Dollar Shave Club ad, like everyone has seen it. And so it has like enduring value for a really, really long time. And if you're creating like a bunch of like highly tailored random ads that are just kind of like generally out there, you never create a brand that has like, yes, everyone remembers that particular Nike campaign. Everyone remembers like this thing that broke through and everyone was talking about that ad, like the iPhone or the iPod like silhouette dancing campaign. Like everyone remembers that one. Like, are we just post that type of marketing, or is there still potentially alpha if you could underwrite it across like 2 decades and you're willing to take this like really big shot, go make something great, and then be like, yeah, we are going to spend 20 million against this $1 million ad that we shot. It might take us a couple of years to actually deliver it to everyone, but we're going to do it, and it's going to pay back over like 20 years.
I don't know.
What's your
my immediate thought is that it's not enough for people to just remember a moment of your brand or remember that your brand exists. It doesn't guarantee to have value 10 years from today, because like, when's the last time you bought a Dollar Shave Club product despite totally remembering the campaign?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, and as long as it's hitting that ratio where 95% of the dollars are going to creative, so if you have a massive fucking budget where you're going to spend $1 million on a video and you can support it with 20 million, sure, dude, if that's what you want to do. Like, but we're like, when Dollar Shave Club made that video, they didn't have any money.
Yeah.
So it was all organic exposure, right?
Yeah.
They made a really good video that, like, they really gambled on it, where it was 100% of costs were going to ad creative.
Yep.
And as ad creative costs go down and as the internet gets messier and harder to stand out, like, you just need to have that money spent on, actually delivering ads.
Well, what do you think about the modern incarnation of the Dollar Shave Club, like 100% of the spend going towards the creative? Like, Cluely just ran this playbook. What's your reaction to that? Like, the reason people have seen the Cluely viral videos is not because of ad spend. They might be promoting it a little bit here and there, but mostly they're just really good at getting engagement and going viral. And so people are remembering that. Now, maybe Dollar Shave Club is a cautionary tale for them, but is that even a tool in the tool chest that founders should be reaching for?
Oh yeah, dude. Controversy and rage baiting, right? Like we all know about Cluey. Like, yeah, it was a good video, but like it's because they're really good at rage baiting. The other thing is like Dr. Squatch did the Sydney Sweeney bath soap,
thing. Yep.
Right? Like we're going to talk about that because of the controversy tied to it and like the outlandish nature.
Yeah.
But if you want to make a really beautiful message, the iPod dancing video, nobody gives a fuck. It's like you have to make somebody mad so
The
that
culture
they can talk
shifted.
about it.
Yeah, it's rough. Explain to me Dr. Squatch. I haven't used the products, or I'm not really even familiar with it. Like, but there's news at the company too. Like, just tell me everything you know about it.
Well, dude, every Sunday, me and Josh, the current CEO of Dr. Squatch, play tennis. So
Sick.
you guys are in LA. If you guys are big tennis guys, you should come play.
That'd be awesome.
Dude, they're crushing it. It's a great story. So the guy who made it, Jack, in 2016 they were doing $3 million. He had some other partners, and he had the foresight to understand that distribution was everything. He raised like $30 million. He bought all his other partners out, and with $27 million remaining, he's like, I'm just gonna put everything into YouTube. He dumped all of that money into YouTube advertising, and the flywheel just got started.
Talk about
Which
the
was
product portfolio
contrarian
first.
because every brand at the time said you can't get YouTube to work as a direct response channel, like programmatic YouTube.
Yeah.
Like creator-driven YouTube was working, but that wasn't like, that was a kind of novel insight that he had.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful raindrop video. Like that video is still like, it was funny, it was iconic, and he's just like, men's soap's a massive category. This should be bigger. I'm going to bet the farm on advertising. He dumped it into it. They ended up getting a huge secondary transaction. Moelis is a great bank. They ran that deal for him. They ended up getting bought by Summit. This was like peak COVID 2021. So then Summit put in a great management team. Josh was there, working before there. And then they just scaled the thing. I mean, the numbers are like, they'll do hundreds of millions of dollars this year. They just got bought by Unilever for $1.5 billion. And it's a great outcome, right? I mean, Summit's going to make a ton of money. So, we're kind of at the end of the fund cycle for a lot of those D2C funds, right? If you raised money from a brand, it's a 10-year fund. Like we're getting towards the end where there's going to be a lot of consolidation. Dr. Squatch is a winner. Made money all the way up, and now they're going to be owned by Unilever, and they'll be the next, generational men's personal care brand. They'll be the Axe or like the Bod spray, whatever we had in middle school. That's Dr. Squatch.
So 7 years.
Yeah, what's funny, the reaction
on this video. So 7 years ago, they launched this video. Natural soap for men has 122 million views on YouTube. Was that the case of just amazing creative and it went viral naturally, or did they spend money to get that 120 million views?
Oh, they dumped like $20 million into that video.
Okay, wow. I mean, it has 11,000 comments, so clearly, like, people, even if they saw it as a promoted post, like, they wound up engaging with it because it was good creative as well. So, but wow, yeah, what a crazy arb at the time. Sorry, Jordy.
I guess speaking of coming to the end of fund cycles, what is the state? Earlier this year, we were covering kind of the state of roll-ups. It wasn't looking that good. I still think it's not looking great. Will there be any real bright spots in that sort of category of investment?
Right. And I think I sent you this before we got started. You guys had, like, the last guy on here was curing diabetes, right? Like, okay, if that works, $100 billion company. You know what I mean? Like, when you talk about NVIDIA crossing $4 trillion, it's just a whole different game when you come to consumer, right? Dr. Squatch at 1.5 billion, massive win. Like everyone in that group will end up being LPs in new funds, right? But like they're not going to be Mark Zuckerberg. They're not going to be, like $100 billion outcomes, right? So there's a company called We Are Wild. I'm friends with that team. They're in the UK. They got bought by Unilever as well. So, I mean, multi-$100 million deal. If you raise at a $5 or $10 million valuation and you exit for 200 million, that's like what venture returns used to be in 2011 or whatever. It's a massive fucking win, right? That's just the world consumers still in. So there are a lot of winners, right? Poppy getting bought. There's every like 2 or 3 weeks right now, there's a new either CPG brand or hair care brand getting bought in like this, $100 million to $500 million range. That's happening a lot right now with that consolidation.
What's the postmortem on the build versus
the
buy,
actual
though?
but the actual like roll up like roll-ups where I'm going to raise a bunch of money and buy a bunch of brands, and the hope would have been to IPO. Turns out it's very hard to make money owning a bunch of Amazon brands or a bunch of random Shopify brands.
This is like the Thrasio thing, right?
The Thrasio, and then there was the Open Store, but
and a few others were trying that.
But it's been rough.
I used to get emails for that all the time when I was running e-commerce brand. Like, hey, do you want to sell? And I'm like, no. Like, did you look at Crunchbase? Like, it's not like that type of business.
No, sorry, Jory, I misunderstood the question. Yeah, all of those are fucked. I think I got a DM. I don't know if this is true or not, that Open Source bankrupt. So I don't know if that's been announced yet.
Okay.
But like, they're all like, Thrasio went bankrupt. Open Source is going to go bankrupt. There's like, we thought there'd be synergies in like running all of these like small independent islands, but like now people still want large brands who can perform revenue, right? Dr. Squatch is that. And like, if you can get to $500 million in revenue in consumer, it's typically one brand. There's typically a lot of profit tied to it, like Hexclad.
Open.store, which was the URL, now reroutes to jackarcher.com, which looks like a men's
which was one of their brands,
leisure wear brand or
one
something.
Of their brands.
It's a Jack dude in a polo with some socks and some
which
pants.
we love.
Looks pretty cool, actually.
How are you? So earlier on the
Jack
show,
Archer.
we ran through a list. Trump calling for lower rates while the markets are ripping. Robinhood CEO raising for a math AI company at $900 million valuation. Andrew Wilkinson's giving out stock tips. Harry Stebbings calling for 8 trillion NVIDIA. Circle at 2,000 times price to earnings.
It's 2,000 times?
2,000
times.
No, it's 2,000.
Wow.
Satya's being smart, doing some layoffs. Then you have Soham Parikh, Masa's top blasting. Your favorite FinTwit influencers launching SPACs. Zuck's making offers. Are you feeling the top? Are you worried right now, or do you think we got some room to run?
Dude, that's a great question. We probably got room to run, right? I mean, so
Let's go. Dress gong. We heard it.
Gong,
Oh, wait,
Joe.
wait. So we have an update on the gong. A good friend of the show told us that we have not been properly warming up our gong before we hit it.
Apparently, there's a risk of
breaking it or just making it sound poorly. So you have to just give it a couple taps to get it warmed up.
There we go. There we go.
And you can hit it. I think
That's
we did it
great.
right that time. I don't know. Let us
They'll
know
correct us in the
if
comments.
we did it poorly, but we're learning our gong technique
Anyways,
here.
you said we have some room to run.
You said go ultra long, sell your house, sell your car.
Can we expect an
That's what I
NFT
heard.
profile picture for Ridge? Is like really kind of the what the kind of
well,
question
no,
we're
it
getting
would be an AI agent for Rich.
for wallets.
Yeah.
no, dude, wallet coin. So I think it's full
wallet
circle.
coin.
It's
There you
back
go.
to ICOs, guys.
Yeah.
Initial coin offerings.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. How do you? I mean, I think like Ridge has just navigated through so many different crazy cycles that it's probably business as usual. Maintain a strong balance sheet. Just stay profitable. Grow. All the things that a business should do. But how do you plan around? How do you update your kind of thinking or strategy at all around cycles? We were asking Ryan Peterson earlier this week how he was, if he thinks that, if rates do come down as a little treat for having a strong economy, there's certain brands that are going to benefit from that, retailers. But I'm curious how you think about it.
Yeah, rates coming down just open up financial markets again, right? So like it looks like the IPO window's open. Everybody's fucking, rushing to the market. Bitcoin all-time highs, fantastic.
Yep.
But, we're getting a lot of inbound interest from PE groups and banks because if they think interest rates will come down. That makes leveraged buyouts work again, right?
Okay. So it's LBOs.
Yeah. So like private credit has dominated the private equity market for the past like 3 years because it's too expensive to buy stuff. You can lend out money, right? You have this big balance sheet. They want to go back into buying assets and restarting that clock. So that'll probably happen. If the economy can rip, financial markets look tasty. You know what I mean? There's a lot of really cool things going on. But job data still, like, ADP put out their June numbers and like it doesn't look good, right? So I think we do end up getting rate cuts just because the financial markets are like, removed away from what's happening, in a lot of businesses, right? So I think we'll get bad jobs reports.
Yeah. What about rates on like buy now, pay later, and just like the general consumer ability to like click the checkout button on an e-commerce site? Like like in theory, I would imagine buy now, pay later products being highly sensitive to interest rates. And yet it's always felt like, don't think about the interest rate when you click this button.
Right, because the whole thing was that the interest rate was obscured, right? Like for a customer on Klarna, they pay a 0% interest rate, and it's built into this payment processing rate that we pay, right?
Okay.
So like the whole idea is that if I charge a brand 6%, I think Shop Pay is like 6%. Yeah. Shop Pay has pay in 4, right? These people pay me in 4 months. I have a 6% interest rate. It works out to being 20, because they're paying back early. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's 25%. Who really knows? So there's like built-in interest rates that like the brand's really paying.
So if interest rates come down, you might expect those rates to come down, and then companies are pushing that harder.
Dude, if interest rates come down, buy now, pay later becomes a good business. Right now, it's probably not that good of a business because the payment contracts are locked in, right? Like Shopify for the next 4 years, I have to give them 6% or whatever it is of whatever the buy now, pay later is. And if interest rates come down, they're just fucking, I can't renegotiate that. So they'll just be printing money on that thing. Yeah. But look, never bet against the American consumer. We love buying shit. Prime Day's 4 days this year, baby.
Prime's
4 days. 4 days. Last question. Need to get the update on what percent, like how much value Ridge is getting from AI, like Gen AI right now. There were some big promises earlier this year from a variety of companies. But I'm curious, like what the actual, what is the core value that you're getting today? Is it just more diversity of creative, being able to test more, or is it kind of business as usual?
Yeah, so I mean, 2 buckets. Like data analysis, it's fantastic, right? I'm running all of my data through like a bunch of AI tools. It makes reporting way easier. It makes getting like what's going to sell, inventory buying, all that stuff is way easier with AI, right? I can just upload, hey, here's the 12 months of sales data. What should I buy? And it can actually start doing that for me. And it's replaced inventory managers. I've removed inventory managers from my team. I have, one person director in charge of all that stuff now, but it has replaced people. On the creative side, VO3 is fantastic. So like we're doing hooks on VO3, it's really good at like, if you have still photography and you want to add a little bit of motion, GIFs, whatever, like it's great at doing that. And, like I said, hooks are really fantastic. Static images, it just makes we can output way more static images than ever before. But we're still not at the place where like, I spent $150,000 on photo shoots last month, right? Like in
How
the
much
desert.
did you spend on AI tooling? Probably in the thousands or something?
Yeah, hundreds, right?
Yeah, hundreds.
But like we have cars in the desert, off-roading, like AI is not doing those videos yet. I don't know if they ever will.
It's funny, we made that video for Wander, and a large amount of people thought that it was AI generated. And I'm like, if you find me the person that is making that one-shotting any of those scenes and doing it at that level of consistency, we will invest our entire balance sheet into your company. But yeah, that's good to hear. The data analysis side is interesting. That's historically just been like one of the hardest problems. Like the number one thing that will hold a lot of brands back this year is just not having the right inventory, so that there's like demand, there's general demand for what they make and sell. They just don't have enough of the right things. So just getting better there will make a huge impact.
Yeah, all the tools are getting better, whether it's like Excel or your analytics tool or your creative tool. Your Photoshop's getting better. Content aware fill's been around for a long time. Now you have it on steroids, but still a lot of work to actually get results from that, and so you still have people in the loop.
Yeah, dude, and I think AI like editing is going to be huge, right? Like, you shoot a lot of content. You guys shot that commercial, right? You probably shot hours, right, to get a 1 minute clip. AI is going to make editing way easier. So productivity gains are here and they're coming. We're probably another 2 years before humans are not actually pulling out cameras.
2 years, that's pretty fast.
Dude, if you ask fucking Sam Altman, we'll see if OpenAI is going to be around in 2 years, dude. There might not be anybody left.
There might not be anybody left. That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people will probably still be doing photos in a few years. I'd probably take the over on that one, but certainly there will need to be more of a story behind why there's a photo taken. Is it of someone that you know exists? But if it's for something generic, like the stock photography will truly go away.
Yeah, we're moving from the, you can't trust images online because of filters and just like Photoshop to you can't trust a photo because it may or may not be real entirely. Like it could have just been a hallucination from a machine.
But does it matter if you just want to see a picture of a forest, generic trees in the background to, tell you, to give you a vibe of what this Dr. Squatch smells like, It's fresh forest. It's fine.
I'm gonna make a plug. There's an AI artist on Twitter. It's I think the handle's like this photo does not exist.
Okay.
They've produced some amazing photography.
That's
right?
cool.
Like that actually like it's art. It makes you feel something. A lot of it's soulless, but these guys do a great job. So check that out. This photo does not exist.
Yeah. I mean that's definitely like the pitch in Midjourney is like giving people like the tool to create something completely new and like leaving that inspiration that the human brings to the tool to create something new. But it's very hard for someone to just go and say, make me a viral video, make me a beautiful image. Like that's not the prompt yet.
No,
it's not yet, but we'll see.
Anyways,
anything else?
It's great to see you, Wallet Man. Let's hang in person very soon.
Yeah, let's hang out soon.
Tennis, guys. Sunday. I'll see you.
Tennis time.
I'm down.
Great
We'll
to see you. Have a great Friday.
Bye.
Cheers.
On the AI note, we should cover some of the back and forth around Grok 4 versus O3.
Yep.
Tim Sweeney, founder of Epic Games, says Grok 4 feels like artificial intelligence to me. It's clearly not just constructing statistically likely connections, but it's drawing fairly deep insights on problems I hadn't seen before in ways I haven't seen elsewhere. Here's an example, and it's a very detailed example. The biggest shortcoming I see is the adoption of confused musings from online forums as facts, coupled with the inability to derive deep insights from intermingled prose and graphics and sources. It needs contextual skepticism and more multimodal visual learning. Also, I bet there are hundreds of thousands of topics where a human professional could write a definitive guidebook on topics that online forum posters frequently confuse, and that could be used to fine-tune a lot of the low-quality user content driven nonsense out of AI models, out of current AI models. So bullish on the fine tuning labs that are generating data. What's interesting is Tyler Cowen says O3 is still better, so he's still in the O3 camp.
And more XAI news. This is breaking as of 10 minutes ago. Cool. Elon Musk's XAI seeks up to $200 billion valuation in next fundraising.
Wow, okay.
Early talks.
Yep.
Early talks.
Early talks.
To boost its value from as much as 10 times from last year.
They're on the frontier. Let's see how much money they can make from this API.
This is the most the highest value that's ever been applied to X, Twitter, the everything app.
Well, it's not pre-revenue now. They're making money.
Yeah.
Right. There was more back and forth between two former guests of the show. Amjad says, I suspect it's part of the reason they crush benchmarks. Truth-seeking is an all-or-nothing proposition, and it's crucial for general intelligence. Will Brown says, I think it's probably more the 200,000 H100s for RL and inference than the don't be woke system prompt. I do think this is some pretty clever marketing sleight of hand by XAI. Grok has been in the news lately for being edgy. Grok is also now in the news for being incredibly smart. They would like you to think that these things are deeply related. That they figured out how to scale RL like this in such a short amount of time is, in fact, an impressive feat of research and engineering. There is no reason to think that it's related to the willingness to say controversial things other than via the absence of efforts typically spent on guardrails. So yeah, maybe they just sent it fully into just training RL, let's hit this as hard as possible. And we covered this, that the RL spend was apparently the same as the inference spend for this training run. So kind of new attempt, and obviously a great model, but maybe not really tied to the fact that they were trying to make like an anti-woke model specifically, just the fact that it's a lot of great math going on.
Well, more breaking news. The U.S. Geiger Capital is reporting on X. The U.S. just posted a surprise surplus of $27 billion for the month of June. Total receipts were $526 billion. Total outlays were $499 billion. That's some free cash flow for the United States of America.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Absolutely wild.
Well, more breaking news. You can go to BigGetBezel.com. Your bezel concierge is available now to source you any watch on the planet. Seriously, any watch.
This is the time to develop a strategic reserve of Daytonas.
For sure.
The Daytona Reserve.
And I mean, we shouldn't break this, but a good friend of the show is becoming a watch guy, and we're very excited to break the news when it goes live.
We'll have to have him on.
We'll have to have him on to talk about it with the hitter. Mark Gurman is talking about Tim Cook. The rhetoric that Tim Cook should be replaced is just nonsensical. Replace him with who? Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs, sadly, isn't walking through that door. I thought this was a good take that I've agreed with for a while, is that, Tim Cook it is such a large organization, so deeply entrenched in their massive supply chain. He is the one who built that supply chain. He is, maybe missing the mark on AI, might have to partner with some folks, might have to spend a bunch of money, but fundamentally, he's running the core business very well. And that relates to the new plans for 2026. The first half, they're going to release a flurry of new products. Mark Gurman has a story in Bloomberg. He says Apple plans an M5 MacBook Pro and MacBook Air, A19 iPhone 17e, new Mac external monitor. That'll be interesting. I wonder if they're going to refresh that crazy display.
Yeah.
What's it called? Not the Apple Pro, the Apple Pro Display XDR. That's the one that's like 5K. If they make just a 55-inch version of that, it's game over. Like, people would definitely mount that on the wall. But right now, I think it's like 32 inches, pretty big, great for working. And then we have the studio displays over there that are also very good. But they haven't refreshed the Pro Display XDR in a long time. People still love it. They're also launching new low-end iPads and M4 iPad Airs as part of the flurry of new products. I think this is all kind of expected, but interesting. What else is
Michael Laframboise is doing some market research. He says, would you pay for a mini Archimedes that plugged into a wall and killed mosquitoes? Cool concept.
I didn't know what an Archimedes was.
This must be
missile battery.
Yeah, it must be, but
lasers or something.
I think something like that. I mean, this is the future that we want. This is making
bringing.
We had Michael. Yeah. We had Aurelius Systems. We had him on the show a long time ago, and we need to take the best defense tech and use it to for
this is like Matt
applications.
Friedman coded meets Palmer Luckey coded. It's like melding the two things together, just like tiny robotics for like specific use cases, but defense coded. Very cool. Anyway, we should debate this question from Ben South, or this historical anecdote. If distribution were really the only moat, we'd all be using apps from celebrities. He calls out Bizzle, which was apparently Justin Bieber's product. And
Bizzle.
Then
it's not clocking to you, John.
Not clocking to me? What does that mean?
You're so offline. So Justin Bieber launched a new album today, and he leveraged the kind of crash out that he had in front of Nobu when he said, it's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business.
Oh, standing on business, yeah. Okay.
But we got to bring Bizzle back.
Okay.
It might still be in the App Store. Probably not.
And then there was the camera app.
Yeah, what was it actually called?
I forget what it's called, but
disposable.
Dispo. Was it just Dispo eventually? Because it was originally launched as like David's Disposables. It's interesting. It's like, yes, you can get the initial onboarding, but if the flywheel isn't there for the true social growth, like the true, what's it called? The R naught, the viral coefficient. If the viral coefficient isn't actually greater than 1, you'll just need to continually be refilling the top of funnel, and it just will never grow. Underrated. There's like many more celebrity apps. The Jeremy Renner app. Are you familiar with that? It was like a clone of Instagram, but it was just Jeremy Renner content. It's pretty sick.
Interesting.
It was just for like Jeremy Renner fans. They could just see his private Instagram feed, basically. Pretty funny. But yeah, it's interesting. It's like, begs the question, like, what is the ideal celebrity, the ideal celebrity app or way to get into technology? I'm still very bullish on Saquon Barkley's strategy of just like invest in power law companies that are already like kind of deemed successful and like ordained by the tech industry and the tech complex, and just get in, as opposed to like trying to all of a sudden become a tech CEO or like a co-founder of something that you're just kind of taking weight on, you're just kind of dead weight on the cap table and you're not really driving it. It's like, if you're good at being a celebrity, just focus on that, and then invest separately. Anyway, interesting. What
Sweet.
else?
Well, I wanted to highlight a market.
There's
please. A market up now of the next a poly market of the next CEO of X.
Okay.
It only has X would be like the social app.
Yeah.
Unclear if there would be if Elon just becomes the CEO broadly. There's no new CEO because for whatever reason they just don't backfill Linda. But then Sriram Krishnan sitting at 17%.
Oh, no way.
So very, very, very low volume. Nikita's up there too at 10%. But I think the company, I think the social app of X now that it's a combined entity, it still needs a figurehead. It needs a core champion. So I'm hoping they find somebody new there.
There are some contenders that were highlighted by the Wall Street Journal. I don't know if they're on this market particularly. Contenders could include members of Yaccarino's leadership team, such as John Nitti, global head of revenue operations and ad innovation at X, Angela Zapata, X's global head of marketing, or Monique Pintarelli, head of Americas at X, industry insiders said. So those are kind of the rumors that the Wall Street Journal is talking about. But it'd be way more fun to get a poster in there.
Definitely.
Potential guest.
Posters in control.
Not one of these business people. Although we forgot to highlight this, but Linda Yaccarino, during her 12 years at NBC Universal, she had the nickname the Velvet Hammer, which I think is amazing. She earned a reputation as a hard-charging executive with networking and negotiating chops. The Velvet Hammer, because she would always dress in velvet, I guess, which is so sick.
Velvet Hammer.
You got to always have attire that's so iconic that it works its way into a nickname. We were talking about nicknames this morning, and they need to come from specific stories. You can't just pull them out of a hat. They need to really be evocative. And the Velvet Hammer tells me exactly what she's up to.
Definitely.
Dressed to the nines. Gonna get the ad deal done.
Well, this is a good post to end on from San Kalp. You are terminally online if you know more than 5 of these. TBPN, High Agency, Hegelian E-Girl, Claude Code, La Boo Boo. I still don't know how to pronounce that. I just see it written everywhere. Yeah. Grok 4, Prime Intellect, Calamaze, that guy who claims to have implemented autofills and OTPs. A friend of the show sent us that guy's making that claim. Yeah. And then I noticed that it was getting community noted because the guy was just lying, because that's it's a great.
I think it was hotly debated whether or not he was lying. Obviously at Apple, multiple people work on every project, so people were like, yes, well, technically someone else has a claim, but also this person might have a claim, and there's no evidence that this guy doesn't have the right to claim it. Anyway, we are clearly terminally online because we know everything about this and are just diving into a conversation about it.
Of course. Well, it's Friday. It's Friday afternoon or evening, depending where you are in the world. And try terminally touching grass this weekend.
Yes.
Go outside.
Log off.
Get some sunlight.
Get some sunlight in the morning. 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes.
That's enough. Don't do more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get back inside. Doom scroll.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Leave us
Thanks
5 stars on
Apple
Podcasts and
Excited
Spotify.
for
and we will
Monday.
see you on Monday.
We'll see you then.
Goodbye.
Cheers.